I think that was mostly a beauty contest and
That,
not actually trash
yeah,
talk.
See, every single time they call these segments trash talk, I feel like they've never tuned into a Western trash talk.
Yeah, exactly.
That
because
is-
these guys are just complimenting each other over and over again.
It's really, it is weird that
Yeah.
the segment is titled trash talk, but there's actually, you want to hear trash talk?
Well, let's see whether they can put their money where their mouth is on the Rift instead of trying to say nice things to each other to put them off at the beginning of the game, which seems to be what most of our LCK teams have decided trash talk is all about. Having a look at the squads making their way out, it is indeed Spirit that's going to be helming the jungle for Afreeca, and Mystic is starting this time around. No double S to confuse me with how to say his name correctly, because it has to be double S.
Yes.
Instead of just saying the letter twice.
Yeah.
Which can be rough. But it is Mystic. That one's an easy one.
I was looking up during the key player point. Blue hair does mean Super Saiyan God. Now, I don't know
Right, good. Good.
if going from yellow hair to blue hair means that he's leveling up sort of like a Super Saiyan.
I'm pretty sure that's what it means. Because
Maybe
we
that
saw
actually
his
is,
Super
yeah.
Saiyan performance on the Ashe in his first match.
Original hair color is black,
Yeah.
just like Goku and Vegeta and Gohan.
Yeah. And
Then he bleaches it, went
Mhm.
Super Saiyan. Now he's Super Saiyan God.
Well, let's just hand them the trophy now, I guess. I don't know. I mean, aiming, he skipped a step. How did he go
we're waiting
from...
for a fusion.
That's
we need
what it
to,
is.
yeah, aiming skipped a step. He sort of cheated like Vegeta did in GT, but that's not canon. So
that's
we're not gonna talk about
I
it.
mean, he also got to like a just monkey stage, and I didn't really understand what that was about. And
Yeah,
they were in space, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
I watched some of that, but it was very
let's
late at night.
Not go there.
I was pretty confused.
You know, yeah, GT. Good try. That's what I'm gonna give for that one.
Not gutter trash. Not,
Gutter
we're not
trash?
quite there yet.
Well, I was trying to do the LCK trash talk,
Oh yeah.
so
Yeah. So you can't go with
Good try.
That's too much. Good try. Nice work. I think you guys will have a good day, but you will lose. Okay. That's what we're saying.
I hope that it rains when it's cloudy.
I hope you forget your umbrella on Wednesday. Okay, Afreeca Freecs. Starting off on our blue side, we'll see what they're going to ban to start this one out. We expect some ingenious things from this draft from the Hanwha Life side.
Yeah.
We'll see how much Afreeca decide to sin in this particular ban phase. Is the Diana, the first one to be taken away from Haru, his secret source.
Alice, before we jump into breaking down the draft here, though, I do just want to hit you with some trash talk. I hope that your ice cream melts.
Whoa.
Yeah. Just wanted to throw that out there.
You know what? I am very diligent about putting my ice cream in the refrigerator.
I don't want to hear it.
Well, in the freezer section of the refrigerator.
Don't want to hear it. What I do want to hear is how this draft's going to turn out.
Well, is
I guess I don't hear that. I see that.
well,
so it's a
Set's
little bit
gonna get
different.
banned.
Yeah.
So do you know what we're doing an on first pick?
Okay.
It's happening
I hope so.
because Elise or something is going to be banned here,
Yeah, something that, you know.
or Ashe.
Okay, Ashe.
It's
Gonna
just
be
ban Ashe.
banned away. Now, Yuumi
Wait.
isn't the entire problem. There's other enchanters or mages. I just basically I just say mage to cover them all, but
Oh,
there's
Spirit.
other enchanters available. Spirit now gonna pick up the Elise. He's ready to sin.
Oh, Rumble Aphelios. I love it already. Out of this draft, the
Rumble can go bot lane.
multiple. He can go every lane.
Yes.
He can actually just go
Oh
in
yeah,
every
he
position.
can. He can.
Yeah.
Rumble is a 5-role flex champion, and when he's paired down in bottom lane, usually it is accompanied by the Soraka. And now Pantheon Elise is very scary. Pantheon Elise can also tank turrets for years, juggling aggro with the Pantheon E
Oh,
as
yeah.
well as the Elise Repel. It is a lot more obnoxious, although not quite as much upfront sheer burst as the Renekton Elise, but definitely a lot more utility, which I personally like.
I also really like the AD carry being locked down here. That was going to be the next role that was going to be pinched, meaning the Misfortune was going to be disabled from Mystic, and he can't go towards his favorite pick in the Ashe. Jarvan just going to be locked down. Of course, Jarvan and Rumble, constant synergy, and does keep the Rumble flexing throughout a whole bunch of different roles. Also a favorite pickup for Haru, of course, but there's no jungler that can't play J4. So now we're looking at the support position as far as Hanwha Life is concerned, trying to get rid of some of those good Misfortune options. Expect Leona to be the next ban after the Blitzcrank. Now, Afreeca Freecs, where are they going to decide to go? As maybe some comfortable mid lane options could be the next ones to be taken, or the
Soraka
away from CuVee.
Well, Soraka does end up biting the dust, and I'm going to call this one a wrap here, Atlas. You got this for the rest of the game.
It's just over?
Yeah, I'm going to go take a nap while you handle this one. Soraka's been banned, so...
Yeah, I mean, what's the point of you being here, really?
I mean, honestly, at this point.
With all of these Morellonomicons running around the Rift, the amount of forbidden books still being purchased from the shop somehow, the black market, it's just too difficult to beat the Soraka, you know? It must be. But given it enough respect, there's 3 seconds to go. Ban something, Afreeca. You probably should do that. Mordekaiser taken off the board.
Mord taken off the board is a bit surprising as last pick, especially because the Pantheon is able to be flexed 3 lanes, mid, top, and support.
And the order is still available.
Into the support position. Because of the support item changes, he's able to get to that Black Cleaver or a lethality item really quickly.
This is a really scary draft from Hanwha.
Hanwha
already.
Life
this has got everything.
Identifying what is going on. Afreeca opens B1 Elise. Hanwha Life respond R1, R2, Rumble, Aphelios, Rumble is a quadra flex at that point. Well, actually, technically still a 5-man flex. Aphelios can go top lane.
Flex,
and then when Pantheon and Misfortune come in, Jarvan comes in as a mid-rangey kind of off-tank champion, most likely going to end up inside of the jungle, although he's able to be flexed also to multiple roles. Primarily only top and mid, support less likely. And then Ornn comes in on R4 to give that insane late-game scaling, and Afreeca is pure sin.
Yeah, they are sinning really hard. Of course, Kiin is a great cannon player, always has been, but I liked him more when the AD on hit cannon was more of a thing.
Yes, when he had more options.
Yeah, when he was able to play as that split push bully that you needed multiple people to be able to take him down. It is going to be the Thresh locked in the end for Lehends. He's not going to go back to his Shen or anything like that. It's going to be a very comfortable draft, but I'm giving it to Hanwha here. Their draft has multiple modes, as our friend LS would say. They held on to flexibility until the very end. They can still flex now, moving on and rumble between the lanes.
Yes. And the thing is that Hanwha Life, they have such good scaling with the ornaments. Rumble, most likely going to get a Zanya's Hourglass or a Rabadon's Death Cap, depending on how the game is going for him. And that'll be his Ornn upgrade. Black Cleaver, most likely the Ornn upgrade for Jarvan. Aphelios obviously gets the Infinity Edge, Thresh the Redemption.
Yeah, so many options here.
If they get ahead, there's no coming back for Afreeca. So, Afreeca, they're going to be on a bit of a time limit this game. They have good lanes to try to get ahead with, and obviously the Pantheon is going to be a treat.
Yeah, this is the thing that we've got to look at, because Elise right now can have a field day. We know Pantheon Elise, you've already spoken about it. It's a incredibly difficult duo to deal with no matter where they are. And Elise has a gankable lane everywhere, especially if Marks of the Storm can be reliably gathered from Kiin up towards the top side. But when you're expecting something from Kiin, generally expect that it is going to work out. So Spirit sort of has pick of the litter where it comes to where to go. We don't even need to talk about Nautilus. The guy is a CC machine. So opportunities for Afreeca, but they need to get this game done and dusted at about 28 minutes. Otherwise, there's just a likelihood that war of attrition states that Hanwha Life win the game. And here we are onto the Rift for game number 1, Afreeca versus Hanwha Life Esports. Hanwha were able to take one game off Afreeca. It was the only loss they suffered throughout the entirety of the Kesper Cup. And now it might be the first loss of their LCK split as well, being the last remaining undefeated team here in the LCK.
Now, one of the things that I don't particularly like, but we'll have to see what he does with it, is the teleport on Pantheon. That strikes me as very strange, because Pantheon, in the later stages of the game, he's always with his team anyway.
And
because
also
the Grand Skyfall.
Drop. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Grand Skyfall just covers so much range anyway that he's always with you in split push, and that's often how you want Pantheon to enter the team fights anyway. is via the Grand Skyfall. So, a little bit strange that it's not an Ignite.
Well, we'll see what he's going to do. Just going to be able to get around the map a little bit more reliably. He, of course, did play the Pantheon in, I believe, their first game against Griffin. But honestly, the games didn't feel comfortable for Afreeca. It wasn't like a 2-0 demolition of Griffin in any way, shape, or form. And actually, Griffin found themselves inroads in multiple different occasions and then had the game stolen away from them almost twice in a row.
Yes. Griffin almost won those games. And it was very akin to what Hanwha Life is trying to do here today with the better scaling, much more power in their punch come mid-game. And if Ken and Elise and Pantheon don't get ahead, it's going to have to try to be the Mystic Show one more time, and he's going to need to go Super Saiyan God to carry this one.
Right now, he is certainly on a champion that he can do so. And we saw, you know, Deft's Misfortune performance on the game that they just won in the matchup earlier. We know that her damage potential in the late game is extremely high. Tempt got a little bit frustrated by those minions, but Flamespitter didn't troll him too much in the last two. Getting a few of those is Vsta running on away here. My first cast of good old Vsta, who's making his way into the 80 carry position after being a sub support. Not entirely sure what's going on there because their flexing of lava towards the bottom side I thought was really, really cool. Just not going to be a thing that they're going to continue with. It's likely that CuVee is going to be just fine in this lane. He's on. And therefore, what happens in the laning phase basically doesn't matter. Please, Kiin, just get a CS. Oh my goodness. There we go.
Well,
missed that one too. He's getting trolled by this.
You know, he did miss one, so I feel like it might be about time that he starts considering North America.
Yeah, I think so.
As the place to go. Getting 18 out of 19, it's just not quite good enough.
I didn't see the money coming up for like most of them, so
that's sarcasm.
Maybe I'm just losing my mind. Okay, yeah.
You know, I mean that's fine.
He's still winning. You know, he's still got a lot more of the minions that CuVee has, but the minion wave is sitting underneath this turret.
Yep.
As our Spirit, this is the man that we've all got to have our eyes on. If you're an Afreeca fan,
he's up 2 camps right now.
You look at Spirit's score, and that will tell you, come 20 minutes, whether Afreeca can possibly win.
Oh, nice dodge
really
by
nice
Vsta, who, again, is a support main.
Yeah.
So not every day that you have support mains that actually jump into the carry positions.
Well, he's doing so pretty comfortably by the looks of things at the moment. As Kiin not going to get knocked up that time. Lightning Rush, pretty good. One of those Mark of the Storm still hanging out here as the W comes back up. Bellows Breath just to avoid being stunned by that Mark of the Storm. But Kiin's health bar has been whittled well and truly.
He has to be really careful. He's 1 Q away from actually being put into Ornn lethal range. So if Ornn were to just land 1 Q, the next Q with E and W follow-up would execute the cannon. So definitely a balancing act right now where Ornn is doing actually fine because CuVee hasn't built an item.
Oh no, there's the flash play. In comes the Jarvan, and that should be first blood. Going over to Hanwha Life, and it's Vsta that picks it up of all people. Maybe just taking a double here as the Q. Will it come back off cooldown? Haru just stabs him. There we go, Hanwha Life 2-0 already, and it has gone from bad to worse already.
CuVee backing up, building an item. Let's see what it's actually going to be first. It will be the Negatron to give him the duality against the jungle and the top laner, so definitely a very good purchase right there instead of the Ruby Crystal.
Well, you saw Spirit up there just trying to give CuVee a little bit of a love tap, but otherwise not too much of an issue. As we're going to have a look at this one more time. Gravitum, just a pretty good gun.
Yeah, it was just such a nice setup right there. Nice lantern in by Lehends. Haru just coming in, a really quick pickup. And then Vlad the Impaler right at the very end here. There you go, right there, just like Longinus.
All too easy. It's Tempt. He's just farming. Doing absolutely fine in this matchup against Fly. He went back and got himself a couple of long swords, but having the arm guard, certainly very, very good.
All right, well. At this point, Pantheon not really getting ahead or able to do anything. So again, we'll have to see how this is all going to transpire. Kennen obviously going for the Vampiric Scepter, first item.
Yep, and heading towards that Bilgewater Cutlass as soon as possible. If he builds a Blade of the Ruin King, that's when maybe we could start getting a little bit excited and interested in what this game is doing. Honestly, an on-hit cannon would provide them with a split push threat, which allows them to step away from the team fight, which they're definitely going to lose. There is no way they win that against Hanwha Life. The Spirit looks for it. Lehends takes a lot of damage, but it's Haru that's in the front line. There's the Grand Skyfall as Kiin looking to come in. Does have the Slicing Maelstrom. Waits for the play. And Lehends will be the first one to go down. But Mystic grabs that kill as Vsta on the back line, but he's now sort of 1 versus 4 off on the other front. They turn onto the 3. The flash forward. Vsta is point blank range with the close range weaponry. And my God, is it difficult to cast Aphelios, but it's easy to see how good he is as Fly runs away wondering what the heck that champion just did.
I don't know.
Crescendum. My brain couldn't find Crescendum, okay?
I know there's one weapon that it cycles really fast relative to proximity and stuff, and I'm like, is he going to use it, Atlas?
He did use it.
And, I mean, Aladios did a lot of things in that
He did a lot of things.
It's actually hilarious.
It's so hard. Champion's so hard.
All right. So Grand Skyfall comes in. You can see the flay went out in anticipation, but Kiin holding on to it. CuVee really just running into a rock right there. Not doing the most with Ornn inside of this fight, but that's fine. Aladios has a lot of answers for Afreeca. And, I mean, look at the champion.
How many
look
of them
at him.
there are.
Fly doesn't even know what's going on right now.
I don't know what's going on right now,
And
but a
trust
lot of
me, you
damage
already know
happened.
I don't know what's going on.
Oh, we definitely know that.
Captain Flowers just probably woke up. He still doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't even know why he woke up.
It's like, oh, I still don't know. Never mind. Falls back to sleep.
Oh, man.
Well, Spirit does get Shelly. Haru's going to trade that for the Cloud Drake. Hanwha Life stacking these up, certainly a good idea, and not having the opportunity of a Cloud Soul is great for him as well. Ward goes over. Haru's taking a lot of damage, but Aladios is there, so a lot of anything is no worries.
Aladios. I'm glad that a lot of people seem to like that nickname.
Yeah, no, it's working.
It really is. Oh, man.
I think, like, when are we going to get to the point where people just start banning the damn champion? Because he's really too strong.
He got slightly nerfed in 10.3, and then I do believe they're nerfing him again in 10.4. So
we're on 10.2.
Yeah.
So he should probably be banned. Right?
Yeah.
No?
Well, oh, Kennen is in lethal right now. 750 if CuVee knows the Ornn combo. All it takes is Ornn to connect 1Q, and then Kennen has no say. And everything else that follows up, you land the max range Q, cast the R, and then E immediately. Get all the knockups. Chain it with the Bell's Breath. Kennen does not have an ability to respond, even if he tries to Lightning Rush. This won't happen.
And he doesn't have Flash, so therefore he's just dead, as Mystic is going to be delivered a whole bunch of plates. Trying to stay in range to collect those, and he will be able to. There we go. Oh, it does take probably way too much damage for it.
Is
There's
that?
the ult. And oh my God, how did that even happen?
Well, you see, what I've noticed is the green item.
Calibrum is a little bit silly.
When I see the green item, I think of like a very rapidly expanding forest, like those shots in Hollywood movies.
Ah, yes.
And then I just think like, wow, he's like a hawk.
Yeah.
You know, and he just.
It is because the auto comes out if you use the Calibrum, if you use the ultimate, the Moonlight Vigil, then it gets marked, and therefore you can like hit him from
does
everywhere.
not know what is going on right now.
Yes, he does. He knows that he's about to die.
Well,
as we
he just
missed
used
the
heal,
Q.
and okay, CuVee had no idea that he was in
Too
lethal,
easy.
so the joke was on him.
Yeah.
Pantheon puts up his shield at the end. Now, this does come at a cost, though. Pantheon is missing out on some of the minions, however, Spirit is there to pick them up. That was about, what, 80 gold worth of minions, and also the plate, so you factor that in, it's 200. Kill up in top lane was worth 450. So, it's still a net positive for Afreeca, and obviously now Afreeca is also, well, okay, I guess the minions balance it out, and then the plate. So, That's the big picture.
All right, Kiin got a plate. Is it worth his life is the question. As Vsta's here.
Ooh.
Yeah, we don't have the flash, so Kiin is definitely dead. Takes a little bit longer than you'd otherwise expect, but 3's going to be the charm. Haru's down here towards the bottom side, but what can a Jarvan do against Jelly and Mystic here? Looks like his answer is going to be quite a lot, as Mystic has to flash to get out of the way. Not going to need the bullet time, uses it now, gets the stopwatch. Jelly going to follow suit as the Ornhorn not going to do it, and it's good flash to get him off this one.
What?
Spirit now looking for Haru. Doesn't find the cocoon though, as now we're just looking for another minion wave. Fly is down here as well. I feel like this Pantheon in the early game has been working out. He's just needing to be in too many places at once right now. As Tempt, oh no. Is the stun going to land? No, it's not.
Well, he has cleanse, so they would have to land both, but they wouldn't be able to kill Rumble through both.
Yeah.
So
what that was is Fly waiting for the cocoon to land, so the cleanse comes, and then
you do the
you
Pantheon
can do the
chain.
stun.
Yeah. It wouldn't end up killing Rumble, but it would,
Especially
for the most
not
part,
with the-
delete him from the lane. Yeah, he has the Seeker's Arm Guard.
Yeah, and
Has the Ruby Crystal.
the cleanse that gives you a bunch of tenacity as well. So not going to be super helpful as Kiin. He gets the ward spot. That's a good one. I learnt that from Ejim, professional LCK commentator, whose greatest achievement thus far is not commentating the LCK.
Hopefully we have him by week 4.
Yeah, we're gonna need him relatively soon, because otherwise, lost sanity is going to well and truly be out of sanity.
I'm gonna become likely senile.
Yeah.
At the end of it. As I was talking on stream actually about how insanely hard this actually is.
Yeah, it's tough.
This is not just showing up and talking about video games. That's what I think most people tend to think that it is, but it's not. You gotta keep trying to look at everything that's happening on the screen, keep up with what does it actually mean, what are all the champs trying to do, but then also talking non-stop.
What it means
is
in
actually
reality,
really taxing on the throat.
Yeah, what it means in reality is that you just have to keep your brain on more than it normally is for an extremely extended period of time, which is taxing to anyone, right? And it just might seem like we're dudes having a good time talking about video games, which we are,
Yeah,
of course,
I mean, you know, and
to a certain extent, but it does take a little bit more than just that.
we get to talk about the really important things, and then sometimes about the game.
Yeah.
You know, like that. Sometimes the gameplay interrupts us.
And also, oh, that was Kiin getting a great stun
That was-
to
yeah.
stop CuVee from getting that cannon creep. Love it. I hate it when players miss cannon creeps, but I love it when players deny
interrupt
cannon
it,
creeps.
yep.
Oh, stunning.
It is.
Because sometimes it's just player error.
Now-
By sometimes, I mean a lot of the time.
Okay, now this
Lehends
is a very
in position.
tanky Ornn.
Yeah. The Horn comes out, gets the double knocker, just alleviates the lane of its minions.
I don't know what they're trying to do there because Ornn has Abyssal Mask, and they know that Thresh is on a reset, so he could be in close proximity. There's no way to kill Ornn there. With the items that they currently have, he's just way too tanky.
Well, we've just given up on the bottom lane entirely here, if you're Afreeca Freecs. Infernal Rift is coming out. That's a great repel from Spirit as they're trying to stop him from taking the lantern. Oh, that auto attack, it's not going to be enough as Jelly's going to burn down. Tempt arrives at exactly the right time, and Fly does not. Felt like it was an inevitable thing, but Afreeca still opting into it.
So even though CuVee tried to give them an opportunity to kill him, they still couldn't at the very end?
Eladios is on 5-0 on 1.
Eladios is doing a lot of things. He's about to have a lot of items when he recalls. So
yeah,
let's take a look at this. This is the replay. The charge completely whiffs. Everything comes out, and honestly, if Jelly just cast his Ignite, Ornn was dead. So even mid-Lantern travel, all Jelly would have to do is place his mouse cursor over him, hit the D key, and he would have died. It would have been a 1-for-1, which I have no idea what CuVee is doing. This is actually 3 times now in this game. The one time northwest of the Dragon Pit, where he missed the ultimate, eat into a wall, didn't do anything. The lack of awareness that he was in lethal against the Kennen up in top lane when Kennen went back over the threshold. And now again, getting really overconfident with Thresh in close proximity outside of like real turret range.
Well, now I've got another really sad story to tell you, and that's there's a Sapphire Crystal in CuVee's back pocket. And,
you know, I see you've been doing some research.
Yeah, I don't want to talk to you about what that means, though.
About Frozen Fist?
Yeah, it's gonna mean some potential Frozen Fist sinning on CuVee's side. Not a decision that we ever want to see made Barmy Cinder would have just cleaned up all of those minions instantly, by the way, and he would have been able to collect all of them instead of missing one.
The whole thing about Balmy Cinder versus Frozen Fist is the Frozen Fist mana is negligible if you're just playing normally as is.
Yeah.
You never really look at the mana as a worthwhile upgrade. And so what you end up getting with Frozen Fist is you get the extra armor. It has more armor than the Sunfire Cape upgrade. And the problem, though, is that Sunfire Cape comes with enormous amount of HP, which increases the effectiveness of your other resistances as well, including the Immolate burn. So, obviously, Frozen Fist and Spellblade procs can do a lot of damage, the CDR, etc. I posted on Twitter the CDR differences between 33% Orange CDR and 45%, assuming that you have the Scaling CDR, you have the Cosmic Insight, and then you end up going Knight's Vow as the third item, and it is so negligible.
Yeah.
We are talking about microseconds. And for a champion that is repositioning, he's not always casting his abilities immediately off cooldown. He's trying to wiggle a little bit, do something. And so applicability is a really important thing when evaluating items, because sometimes just straight up stats don't really tell you a full picture.
And it also depends on what the stats are on which champion as well, because On had his shield removed. And armor becomes more effective when you have a shield, because that's creating artificial health for you, and therefore you can utilize your effective health, which comes through your armor, through your magic resistance, like that. However, now, you don't get it. So he doesn't have the shield for you to worry about, and therefore health becomes much better on On.
Sunfire is just such an insane upgrade. It is by far the best. You go Abyssal into Sunfire, into Kindle Gem, and then from there, once you have the CDR, you decide, do I want Knight's Vow or do I want Locket of the Iron Solari, which is then more EHP. For not just you, but your teammates as well, because Ornn's effectiveness with these items, he ends up becoming not only a tank, but a carry that can one-shot the enemy carries, and a support. So
he does a lot of things.
He's got the whole package. He truly is Santa Claus.
Yeah, they've got Aladios and they've got a lot of On. It's just a lot of stuff.
I see what you did. You know what else they have?
What do they have?
They have a Rumble that did not build the Forbidden Book.
Oh my goodness.
He
built an arm guard just for laning phase?
I like what I'm seeing.
Oh
Atlas.
my goodness.
I am
Do you know what we need to see this savant do? We need to see him build an Oblivion Orb into Void Staff.
You know who did that earlier was Grig in LCS.
Thank
you
you
want to
so
talk
much,
about a potential player of the game?
That is player of the year
already.
I'm calling it now.
I also think that I saw it on I think I saw it on Bjergsen as well. I think Bjergsen ended up doing it, Oblivion into Void Staff. So really good to see that in the West, Morellonomicon sales are greatly down.
Stonks
are down. Yeah. Morellonomicon is crashing like Bitcoin did a really long time ago.
Hook lands on the Kiin, and he's just dead. No stopwatch. And it was just poor positioning from Kiin. He hasn't had the start to the season that he's wanted whatsoever. This is, it's only, 2,000 gold, something like that as a lead, but we're close to Infernal Soul for Hanwha Live. And they are in complete control of this map.
When we take a look at the replay, and that's just a really clean kill right there. And honestly, Hanwha Life are so far ahead. The gold graph does not speak to the volume that is their champions, their team composition, the cohesion. Talked about this last time they drafted, last time they played. It is very, very rare to get a team that drafts well in the LCK. They don't exist.
No, it doesn't. And it's a fake situation.
It really is. And it's a pretty hard thing to do, but this is 3 times now where they have one draft. And so,
if it wasn't for CuVee botching the item build,
you know what? I would be really impressed. I don't even know. I might make a donation next time he streams or something.
Yeah, you could give him your Twitch Prime.
Don't go too far. Yeah. Okay, stop.
I can't give him my Twitch Prime.
I actually, do you know Weird Champ, right, from the LEC? Yeah. I actually made a deal with him Prime for Prime.
Oh, wow.
I don't have Prime.
Oh, wow. You've been advertising this for so long. Don't even have it as CuVee's going for the 1v1. Fly moves on out of the way. The Ram does get knocked back, though. Good Q. CuVee not with the damage enough to kill him, and realizes that there might be a whole bunch of friends on their way as Fly just trying to keep him in the area. CuVee realizing that maybe it's time to just do some autos, and Mystic steals the kill away because he spent all that time walking down there. He may as well get something for his troubles, and does so nicely. Getting more kills onto the Misfortune, a good thing, but I don't know whether this is going to be enough to actually stem the tide of this Hanwha Life game.
And CuVee is really the only glimmer of hope right now for Hanwha Life, or, well, for Afreeca, I'm sorry, to beat Hanwha Life here in this game.
Yep.
As he is really not having the best game here today, as game number 1 is unfolding. Now, as Ornn, he will bestow great items to his teammates in coming moments here, although no Ornn items actually completed by any of the champions on the side of
we're
Hanwha
looking
Life
for his
yet.
Zhonya's. I think that's why Tempt is fast-tracking the Zhonya's.
And Zhonya's is a really good item against the Pantheon as well as the MF. Not as good as the Rabadon's Death Cap, but it is still a pretty good upgrade, all things considered, relative to what the opponent's team composition is, so I'm not going to complain. Infinity Edge will eventually come in. That'll be given over to Eladios, and then I'm assuming that the Kindle Gem will eventually go into a Black Cleaver, which will be turned into an Obsidian Cleaver. And these are just thousands of... What does CuVee have as his spell?
What do you mean?
Look at it.
Oh, that was the Cleanse. Oh, sorry, the Clarity, I think.
Why did he just change to a useless spell and then...
To cycle his flashback?
Just change to Ghost and activate Ghost and then get Flash. Hello?
Maybe he wanted the mana for no reason.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. He's just thirsty.
He hasn't upgraded his Frozen Fist yet. He's starved on mana.
Oh, okay.
You don't understand.
But he was just at full.
No. Don't look at the mana bar. That'll fib
okay.
to you. That'll fib to you.
Thank you, Atlas. I didn't. Thank you so much.
Well, there's a reason why you're not playing in the LCK, all right? You just don't have the mindset for it.
Okay.
But, I mean, this gold lead is shrinking. Afreeca are actually picking up plenty of gold in the side lanes around this map. Fly's got himself to a couple of items. You have an Infinity Edge and a stopwatch on Mystic. This Misfortune's actually pretty scary. Eladios is probably scarier, especially with the Crescendum that is now available. Remembered the name there. Hopefully I remember it next team fight as well. He's got the close range combo, Severum Crescendum.
They're going to have to climb a mountain for this team fight. CuVee does have level 13. Did he upgrade the Rumble?
The Rumble?
The Rumble item yet? I'm not actually... Oh, this could
Is that
just be
something
a
you
pick.
can do at
That
a
is
gym
a very...
in a group?
Oh, you're talking about the Roomba?
Oh, no, that's... no, I was talking about Zumba.
Oh,
and
Zumba.
Roomba is the...
What is Roomba?
Roomba is a vacuum cleaner.
Oh, okay.
The vacuum cleaner robot.
Well, I mean,
which
Ornn
is
can
what
be,
I was actually
Ornn can be a
thinking
vacuum
about.
cleaner.
Bit of a disaster. Let's hope this team fight can actually help us out as Jelly just finds absolutely no one. Man drop does come in as the bullet time flies over the top. CuVee misses absolutely everything. He just gets bopped for it. As in goes Kiin. He found the Aphelios, and that's going to mean the team fight. Haru's running for his life. Took a while for the cannon to warm up, but he found it, and they're going to not even worry about the Drake? No, they are. They're going to go take the Drake and then take the Baron, most likely.
What's CuVee doing, Atlas? He had a 3-man Ornn ultimate, a pin against the wall. And Misfortune, the succubus herself. Let's watch this one more time.
Oh my god.
Oh my, hello. Check your bank account as, where's he going?
Into the face of a bullet time. Oh god, Kiin's timing and positioning though, that was just a one-team fight right there. I just love that you sounded like one of the kids out of a 90s like high school TV show. What was that, Atlas?
And the Afreeca entire squad is there right now as I really don't. I would love to actually see that replay even one more time to see if there really is something that I'm missing. Which, I mean, it is entirely possible because seeing it twice, I really couldn't wrap my head around it.
Well, CuVee now has the extra cooldown reduction.
Yes.
And auto attack augmentation of his Sheen. And therefore, I think that that's going to be enough to get us over the line in the next team fight.
Quite, yes.
Yes, I think that must be how it is.
I do believe that you are. That is an accurate assessment.
Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. Haru and Lehends just traveling around the top side like they promised Kiin they would, but Kiin's just going to get out of there. As the man drop comes down, look at the CuVee. They've identified the weak link, and they are attacking it. That R button left a little to be desired on the Pantheon's side, who looks to be building towards his Guardian Angel as item number 3. Spirit had a bit of a quiet game so far. Did make some moves in the earlier stages, but was unable to really translate anything, especially after the double kill bot side. Haru showing us that he should have always been a starter. His performances so far have been very good, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. As Ornn still hasn't upgraded anyone's item.
Well, Lehends doesn't find the hook. The Ram comes in, finds no one. And the Baron's going to reset. Afreeca, success.
This is the enemy team Ornn. Or no, this is your team Ornn.
Yeah, this is definitely your team Ornn.
This is your team
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
I think Afreeca have just been raiding a lot of Nax Rammus. They've been doing Hygen. Safety dance.
Okay.
Where you get out of the way of the timings of the bad things.
All right, excellent,
Been
excellent.
doing. Haru gets the Cataclysm onto Spirit. He can flash. Does so to get out. CuVee now on the flank with no R button, and therefore isn't going to be able to offer anything. Kiin going back on the top side of the map. We'll see what he's actually going to be able to complete here. If it's 3 items for the cannon, it's actually very scary. Just another needlessly large rod to have as much AP as possible for this next fight. He is going to have Rabbiden's death cap completed pretty soon. That'll be frightening times. Molten Edge still on the way for Vsta. CuVee wanting to get to that level 14 so he can cling to another excuse of relevance this game. So otherwise, it just hasn't been the Ornn's time to shine. But if he's offering, you know, upwards of
you know what? I
gold.
can maybe see why Ornn finally came out of the mountain. Probably wasn't getting any more orders coming in. The delivery truck guy just stopped coming.
Yeah, the forge is going cold.
Oh man.
Yeah, there's a delivery cease.
And that's why the blue Ornn skin exists. It's because he ventured out from the mountain, then he froze.
Yeah, he's like,
There's
it's too
no
cold
one around.
Yeah, my forge. Because he's always got it with him.
That's why he can't get a skin. He can't afford it.
Yeah, well, there we go.
There we go. I think we just solved it here on the LCK broadcast.
What we didn't solve.
You know what though?
Was
He's
the
getting a
missing of
6th skin,
that
right?
I think so, yeah.
I think they wrote that on Reddit, like the Elderwood.
Oh
Or
yeah.
something. That
Actually,
is
that
really,
one's going
really
to look
cool.
pretty rad. There's the Molten Edge. Has just been completed. Afreeca back into the lead. They had a bit of a trough for, you know, what, 20 minutes?
They are still behind. The Ornn items are adding gold
Yeah.
that isn't present on top, and then also the team composition. Now
that doesn't make sense
Even
to me,
if-
okay? I'm a play-by-play, and I look at the top of the screen, and the team that has
Okay,
the biggest number is
but
winning, okay?
you're a control deck player.
Oh,
So
that's
just because
true.
you're missing HP doesn't mean you're behind.
Yeah.
There you go.
That means I'm just looking for that one item so I can play
Exactly,
in
the
my combo
board wipe.
paladin,
See?
so I can just use the holy wrath.
It's all
into the
making sense
face.
now, right?
Yeah.
You're low on
that's true.
HP, lay on hands a couple of times, you get all the HP back.
I haven't
up card
spotted that I've
advantage.
only got one card in my deck.
Exactly, just like they
Yeah.
spotted CuVee, or
Exactly. Kiin is just dead. So there's nothing that they can do there.
Oh,
The man
no.
drop delivers Fly to his death as well. He immediately tries to get out of there. Not sure what the Ram was doing. And neither was CuVee, I don't think. But they are going to be able to get the Infernal Soul purely off the back of Kiin being in absolutely the wrong place at the wrong time.
And you know what? This Infernal Soul is actually giving the Ornn upgrade for Aphelios almost half a longsword in itself, which is really cool.
Even
It's
more.
a nice stat.
Isn't that
Makes me
great?
excited. I feel like the one person that, like, when you go on a date, you're at the dinner table and you're really excited about like science or space, and like the other person's just not happy. You know what I mean? I feel really isolated right now.
Is
That's
that, is that what you feel?
Yeah.
No, I'm
That's fine.
excited about
Yeah,
it.
are you
Longsword?
excited? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
This Baron's about to go down as well, so we're waiting 6 seconds before Cannon can turn up. It's the turn on to Fly, but he's soaking so much of the damage. Mystic goes golden, but that is about the worst possible position for you. Gets flashed after 1,000 gold for Tempt, and that might just be the end of the game. In goes Kiin into the middle of the team, and I believe he teleported onto a Spiderling, maybe something he doesn't want to do ever again, as Spirit's going to head for the hills. We're looking at another loss for Elise. No one can do what Pioshik was able to do in our previous series. And Hanwha, they're going to take themselves to Baron. There's a crescendo. Still Felios doing a lot of damage to this Baron. We don't even need to worry about it. There are only 2 members of Afreeca alive, and now we're gonna have one last reset before Hanwha just put the last nails into this coffin.
Well, here we go. Kiin just walking way too close. Perfect ward. Knocks up the cannon. Grand Skyfall to a grand demise. As again, Kiin. Now, I think this is the best Leroy Jenkins. Summit not to be outdone. Take a look at this teleport here.
Oh, there we
Kiin.
go.
Instant res into instant. Kiin's not really having the best couple of games, actually.
Yeah, certainly hasn't found himself in this one.
Maybe he's getting a little lazy now that he has teammates. Maybe, no,
I mean, he's 80 CS ahead.
yeah, he is 80, yeah, and you know what, and he basically got himself a solo kill
Yeah.
as well in top lane, so.
Yeah.
Even though there was that 1-2 punch just happened right now, not the end of the world, as Locket of the Iron Solari is actually going to be the Jarvan item, and then he'll probably get that ornament upgrade.
Yep, level 15 now for CuVee. Still a couple of upgrades to dole out as this inhibitor turret was there, I think. Not anymore. There's Gravitum and the Calibrum for Vsta. Probably the best options, but in goes Haru. Moonlight Vigil finds absolutely no one. It's finally an Ornhorn that does something. CuVee getting into the backline, finds himself a couple as Fly joins the fight just to die here on the backside. Stops a lot of that damage. The flash forward from Vsta. Cool guys don't look at explosions, and the Nexus turrets are going to evaporate. The Nexus will do the same thing in Afreeca. They're going to need to rethink how they operate themselves in game number 2 because that draft didn't work, and also the gameplay didn't work either.
And I really, really like to see this. Drafts doing what they're supposed to do, and even in the face of an Ornn V5, I don't even know what I would call that. Ornn was not a part of the game. For the
Well,
first,
it was a 4v6.
Yeah, it was 4. There you go. Yeah. Not 4v7. The Ram was on the enemy team too while you're at it. But eventually,
Oh no.
the team composition did what we mentioned that would end up happening. If Pantheon and Elise Cannon, they don't get ahead, they're not going to have a very good time in this game. So. Also, Aladios doing a lot of things, changing that dragon fight was very big as well.
And I'm pretty sure the Korean casters mentioned that they thought Vsta was the best Felios so far in the LCK. Last outing. I don't know whether that's entirely correct, but he played very well
Vsta
today.
That chained the Aphelios ults with the Ornn?
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
no. Or was that? No, that was aiming. That was the one that we thought.
Aiming's
So
the
we
best.
thought.
Yeah,
we thought aiming certainly
the best
had it.
affiliate, yeah.
However, there were some conversations on the analyst desk in between some matches of Hanwha Life's last match against T1.
That Aphelio set everything up on his own,
Yeah.
whereas Vsta seems very good at cleaning stuff up.
Yeah.
And taking action after stuff is
But
started.
also,
So-
I mean, the team fight where he had the Crescendum into the Infernum
The what?
combo of super close range Aphelios play, where you
Right.
stack up your chakrams in close range and then you onslaught
the
to
what?
bounce a lot of damage and all that sort of stuff. He did it very, very early and was able to get himself a gigantic lead. It's okay. Keep your brain in there. It will be fine. We will be okay. I know this is not what we hire you for, so it's fine.
Take a look at the last one.
Yeah, let's have a look at this one. And honestly, it was pretty much all over, but Haru having a good moment, and Vsta not having a great one.
That was the Ornn
missing
ult
the
that
ult.
actually did something.
Yeah. So we had a moment where Vsta messed up,
Yeah.
and CuVee did everything right. So actually, we should just give the
Everything
MVP
was
to
just
CuVee.
fine. Yeah,
Best
there
on
we
we've
go.
seen in the LCK. There we go. Now people are going to watch that play and be like, why were they so mean to CuVee? Do you know that he's a world champion? How dare
God,
you guys?
Stop. Stop, I'm reading my mentions.
Yeah, I think I was too, actually.
This guy gets everything wrong.
Why is he so stupid? Oh, all right. Well, Cannon did a fair bit of damage, but not when he needed to. He found one team fight. Things are impressive. So there are shades of Kiin waiting in amongst the player that's on stage, but he's a shadow of his former self. We want to try and find him in game number 2. Hanwha Life, however, they want to close this one out to even things with Gen G at the top of the standings. If they do so, it will be unprecedented for what our expectations were for LCK 2020. So stay tuned. We'll be back for game 2 right after this. Welcome back, guys. Thank you so much, G-Sun, for the translation. I'm going to apologize once again for completely botching one of those team fights. I honestly thought that I had it nailed. I had the Elodios nailed. That's why LS did not need to know anything about the champion. He's got too much in the large brain of his already. He doesn't need to have that many pages of notes on a champion in his head. However, I botched it on the first time of asking. I'm hoping next time he's banned. I mean, next time I get another chance and I can nail it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that this game for Hanwha Life was really good. Obviously, CuVee having an extremely rough time for the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Inside of this game.
Hey, but he nailed the last team fight.
No.
Okay?
He did, actually.
Yeah, smashed it.
That was a very good Ornn ultimate at the very end.
Also demonstrates just how good Ornn is, right? Like,
yes.
He did a whole lot of things wrong on that champion by what you were discussing with us during that last game. However, Ornn is still on. Ornn is still able to give so much money to his team, all this sort of stuff. Let's see whether Hanwha are going to get it again or whether it's going to be picked away from them. Resident Ornn player on the Afreeca side is definitely Fly. Does like to play that one in the mid lane. They debuted that in the Kesper Cup. Afreeca sticking to their guns. The Yuumi is going to continue to be banned.
As Hanwha Life now, they're going to ban away the Jarvan. And we'll see if Afreeca keeps up their usual bans. And also, we'll see if Hanwha Life actually want to go towards that Soraka.
Talia going to be banned away here.
Talia biting the dust. Has a Kali. That's a very weird thing to show on blue side.
Yeah.
Basically signals that you're probably not capable of playing it, given the amount of priority that it has had and its willingness to just be picked up.
There's also the fact that a lot of these players probably don't play as much Akali anymore because she's just been banned every single game.
Yeah.
So why would you put practice time into her? So just not wanting to see it regardless. The last one will be the set. So first pick Ornn, a possibility, but the first pick Rumble also there. The quintuple flex isn't a bad one. Now Afreeca, they get their chance with the Elodios if they would like to.
Kiin looks a little flustered.
Well, I mean, after the last game, I don't blame him. He's got a lot to prove. That's Pantheon. All right.
I'm not totally sure why they would want to force this champion again. But we'll see.
We had first pick Nautilus last time, so, you know, crazier things have happened.
And now Aphelios picked up by Afreeca.
Well, I guess we know who wins this game. Is Aphelios 100% win rate so far today? I think he might be.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he is.
Surprising, however, that
wait,
is...
no. No, he did lose.
Oh, he lost that one time. Yes, because, yeah.
He got hit by Chovy's Nautilus.
One dredge line.
Yeah, one dredge line, yep.
Yeah. And then he died with flash up, and then they lost.
Misfortune and Mordekaiser are now locked in, so likely going to be a physical damage jungler. And when that's the case, you know that there's a limited amount of champions that is likely going to come in. So looking at champion like Rek'Sai, like Lee Sin, needs something inside of the jungle, and Elise being picked up again. Honestly,
I'm expecting Rek'Sai and Lee Sin
really
to just be
not
banned right here.
She is not even, I don't even think she's A tier.
Well, she's
in
won
terms
one game.
of the jungle. She has won one game. She is now 1-6 in the LCK. Now, stats aren't always indicative of how good a champion is.
No, of course not.
Now, I'm not saying that this applies to either one of these teams, but hypothetically, if the worst teams are always picking something that is objectively the best and losing with it every game, like imagine the worst teams were the ones always picking Aphelios and MF.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with Aphelios and MF. It has more so to do with the players and the teams playing it. So, Elise, she did pick up a win earlier on today, her first one.
And an MVP.
And an MVP.
Or player of the game, which
now,
is abbreviated to POG for everyone who's
yeah.
playing at home, which is just adorable.
And
shout out to our podcast, the POG State.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice.
That's what it is.
Nice sellout right there. Definitely, I can get behind that.
Hey, look, there's going to be a new episode coming real soon. Hope everyone's very excited. 7 seconds. until the final ban here on Hanwha's side was the Olaf that got chosen to be taken away. So expect Rek'Sai or Lee Sin here for Hanwha Life. I would really like Lee Sin. I like it paired with the Rumble, as Aatrox is being looked at here for Kiin.
I'm wondering if the Blitzcrank ban is actually to allow Rumble to go into bot lane.
Support position.
Yeah, support position so that you can get the Soraka maybe up in top, but instead actually it's just going to be a Blitzcrank so that you can pick the Thresh. But Morgana is still a thing. Morgana's not bad here against this team composition. Another champion that's not bad here against this team composition. We're not going to see her. I'm just going to say her, Zyra.
Yep.
Okay,
I just want Zyra to be picked at all times.
Yeah,
but,
here we go. Nautilus or Rakan.
And Rakan would be...
Old news.
It would make me very upset if that was to come in here. Anything that, like, Bard, Nami,
so,
Zyra,
they
Brand.
just R4, R5, 2 melee champions that have to engage. And even though this is a very black and red team composition, I'm not just talking about the colors of the champions that have been locked in, but also the theme. There's a lot of conditions on all these champions that have to be met. They need to get ahead. They need to make sacrifices in some areas to accelerate them into the mid game. But the R4 Aatrox, R5 Nautilus, it walks right in to the Thresh Mordekaiser Rumble.
Oh, yeah.
So it makes no sense in a vacuum. In Hanwha Life, they didn't draft themselves into a win on their own accord here, but they ended up with it.
Yeah,
and
they got to hand it to them.
Yet again, I believe this brings Hanwha Life to having never lost a draft, at least in my opinion.
Yep, no, they've straight up just won every draft.
Yeah,
they haven't won every game just yet, losing 1 to T1. And a win here will tie them for top of the standings, giving them the title of biggest surprise in the LCK for week 1. Absolutely. I don't think anyone was thinking that Hanwha Life had won the offseason or anything like that. But tying with the team that we thought may have won the offseason in Gen G is certainly very impressive. But they'll have to show it on the Rift. They need to win this game if they are going to get there into that position. Or is it going to be Afreeca Freecs doing the same thing? If Afreeca win the next 2 games, then they will also tie with Gen G. For top of the standings, Hanwha's draft looks real good. Afreeca look just real good themselves during the Kesper Cup and during their first match against Griffin. Can they do it again here? They'll need a top laner to reconnect. Because honestly, Kiin just could not find any of the team fights that he was looking for in the last game.
Slow down. Don't be too toxic.
Oh, I wasn't being toxic.
Okay.
I was just saying that he needs to, you know, regather himself. That was my reference. Okay.
All right. I can get behind that.
Yeah. I'm glad that you allowed me to re-clarify, though, in case anyone was thinking that I was being mean to Kiin.
Okay.
I very much like the player. He just hasn't had the start to the season that he was wanting.
Still
or
the
we
best.
were expecting.
He's still top 2.
Oh, yeah.
In the LCK. For top lane. Him and Summit. Although Summit
also had a bit of a rough time.
Summit
Feels like the pressure is getting to these guys.
Yeah. It is hard to remain on top, as let's take a look at the runes as we are going to get interrupted.
Well, we are able to have a look at the runes for quite some time, if we would like to.
All right. Well, hopefully this pause does not last too long. These lights.
Mm-hmm.
This is getting late into the,
oh,
the day, so.
Who is it? It's Jelly Spilt Water.
All right.
Oh, no. Is this another sippy cup problem?
Yeah, Svenskeren lives on.
It's come all the way over the ocean into Korea. Oh, man.
Monka's.
Yeah.
Monka S.
Can't believe it.
Yeah.
You just...
So
these days, it's just really hard to avoid this sort of thing.
I don't
with the
know
amount of international
if the
flights.
water went into his keyboard or... I would imagine it didn't go into his keyboard because...
it went
did.
into his keyboard.
And so how do we know it's not malfunctioning?
Well,
generally, it doesn't happen right away. All the time. Sometimes the water needs...
Oh, I've spilt loads of things on my
yeah,
keyboard.
I spilt a drink into my keyboard once, and it didn't shut down until 30 minutes later when I was in a game.
That's not so good.
Cool. Yeah, Gravity just had a really sick joke.
Yeah, well.
On me.
So
there's some people in chat right now that are like, the Earth is flat, gravity does not exist. Summoner's Rift is a globe. You know, like I don't really know where we're going with that one, but
That's true. I mean, you have to remember, guys, that this is the summoner and not the actual champion in the Rift. Therefore, Runeterra's gravity laws and physics do not apply to Jelly right now. Jelly does have to abide by the, 9.8 meters per second acceleration of gravity pulling him towards the planet. And that is beneath him right now, underneath. Slightly curved. But we won't go into that.
If you're from Australia, is it above you?
No, that's not how that works either.
That's not how that works?
No, because the bottom is actually the center of the sphere, and not...
So I'm playing a joke on you. Everyone knows that it's flat.
I was waiting for you to get there. Do you know what we're going to need to do before we start having another flat Earth conversation?
Where are you really from? We both know Australia doesn't exist. I've seen the flight paths.
I live on one of the elephants that's holding up Discworld. That's what I live on. That's where Australia is, I'm pretty sure. It's like the end of the trunk.
Right.
That's about where I am. Thankfully, we're back into the game.
Where's that waterfall going?
Well, the waterfall, it's going straight onto Jelly's keyboard, dude. We already figured that out.
Take a look at it.
Oh.
Looks a little red down there.
Almost got it. Almost got it. Okay. We're back into the laning phase. We're into the Pantheon versus the Rumble matchup. The Tempt was quite happy in, honestly, last time around. Our eyes are going to be largely on the top side. See what CuVee can do with the Mordekaiser. Hasn't played it thus far. Played an eclectic array of champions so far in the Ornn, Set, Soraka, and Vayne.
Yeah, he
playing
continues
a whole lot
to
of
keep
different
playing
modes.
the non-meta champions, and that's what he did last split too. He was playing Gnar when no one else was.
Yeah.
He was using Tahm Kench to neutralize Kiin. Actually, I think in the Aatrox matchup was the first time that he debuted it.
I think so too.
The top lane Tahm Kench, he managed to go even against him. So this is where CuVee tries to find his edges. And, I was thinking that the top laner Ixu was going to try to do similar stuff.
Right? Yeah.
But he ended up trying to play straight up against Summit. That wasn't a good idea. And
Yeah, that didn't work.
now here in this game, the Mordekaiser, it is really interesting because it can stifle the build orders on Afreeca, and it can really take away from their mid-game strength. And they're a team composition that's all about early game champions. It's very akin to the Dragon X team comp earlier that we had today with the Qiyana that was inside of it. The Qiyana, the Renekton, and having to get ahead. So Afreeca, they're in the same boat. Now, however, because of the Rumble and because of the Thresh, there is incentive to get Merc Treads. There's incentive to get magic resistance. And so, Maul of Malmortius, not that bad on Pantheon or Aatrox here against these champions. Yeah, and also the Merc Treads, the added tenacity, QSS.
Even Mystic as well. He can comfortably build the Maul of Malmortius.
Yeah, so
I actually love Lifeline passive from the Maul on the Aphelios, just because he can do so much damage so quickly and has innate lifesteal as well. So if you get Severum and have that, it's great. Speaking of great, going to be the stuns layered really nicely. This is what we saw demonstrated earlier. Gets the cleanse out of Tempt, and they are able to re-stun him, but they're only able to get a bit of damage out. No flash necessary just yet.
CuVee actually seems like he's already losing his lane. Looks like there was actually a small freeze in front of Kiin's turret, and CuVee, he's having to recall right now because Elise just passed through around mid, and CuVee has to respect it, and this is disastrous. I don't quite see what Kiin is doing with the minion wave yet, but you can see the pings going down.
He might be stacking it up. We'll see where Spirit's going to path, see whether he can actually threaten top lane after clearing out his chicken camp.
Definitely a bit brutal, though. The top lane state. Mordekaiser recalls into boots, cloth armor, and another red pot. So doesn't get the ideal recall into a refillable potion. Spirit now looking to path onto the right-hand side of the map. As, yeah, it's a big pile up, and you can see Aatrox right now. Hopefully we get an XP graph soon. He's already into level 5. CuVee still level 4, but there is quite a surplus of minions that CuVee has yet to eat.
Well, we're looking at a bottom lane dive. There's Lehends standing here by himself. Spirit in position. No vision available as Spirit pulls the minion wave to avoid that one from being an issue. Sidesteps the hook. Gets the flash out. Turret. Gonna de-aggro there onto Spirit, who can just walk under, but only a couple of minions remain. They do get the flash. That's it. And they waste 4 people's time. Tempt back here is going to waste a few minions to the turret and looking to play defense as well onto the Pantheon, making his way back.
So Mordekaiser is about to ding 5 on that melee minion.
Where was that?
And so
You going? Very
6 minions worth of XP is how deep he is into level 5. So I imagine that Kiin is probably about 8 or 9 minions ahead of him, which is an entire wave. So Kiin's about to get level 6 off of the initial minions on this wave. You can just watch that at the top right of your screen. Kiin's about to ding level 6 off this minion wave. And there he is. As not going to be able to do anything with World Ender just yet. CuVee's going to have to wait until he eats the entire wave to get level 6. As Haru soloing the Mountain Dragon, that's actually, it's so big against Elise, Pantheon, and Aatrox.
Yeah, just against his team comp in general, that's actually going to give Hanwha a little bit more of an option as far as playing this game out sort of beyond the 30-minute mark. Those stats might actually start to matter.
Because you go into the Seeker's Vanguard on the Rumble. You're eventually going to get resistances on the Mordekaiser. The Thresh is going to eventually get the Stone Plate, get the amplification from that as well. So it really helps when you're against this early game team composition. And actually, Mordekaiser, okay, never mind. CuVee just dinged 6, and it took in another wave. So when you factor in the cannon, yeah, he is down about 10 CS in terms of XP.
So the thing that's actually really, really great about the Mountain Drake, we normally talk about Mountain Drake not giving you so much, right? Because the percentages are very, very low. But when you're against Elise and Pantheon, on top of the fact that you have avenues to build these resistance stats, like the Seeker's Arm Guard on both, the Mordekaiser and the Rumble, Ninjatabi also going to come in for potentially both of them. It really does start to stack up. Also, there's an Elise on here as well, and increasing that the magic resist stat is going to be very helpful against her because she does very much like to build that magic penetration, as one Harpoon is going to be successful here as Tempt gains some control here of this lane.
Now, it won't equate to massive amount of reduction, especially early on, while champions still need time to get base resistances by leveling up and whatnot, but even if it equates to an auto attack, that's still nice to have against a team composition that's coming into you and has a reliance on getting ahead, and already has really thin,
Kiin just jumping around, I guess. Death Realm still available for CuVee. Looks like he's doing all right up here.
And the really unfortunate thing about this is,
a whole bunch of friends come in. There's the Death Realm, allowed to set Kiin up for this one, and as soon as he comes out, it's the first time I've actually seen the Death Realm used like this, as Kiin World Ender, flashes, Umbral Dash, and he's going to make it out of there. I like the idea from CuVee, but it wasn't quite enough to lock the Aatrox down completely. Kiin's actually still very healthy as well, as Spirit's making his way over. This might be the first team fight of the game. Jelly already in position. Now, Hanwha Life, they know it. Sniff out the potential team fight that they do not want to be in that position for.
Hanwha Life, they're dragging all the teammates over. Now, Kiin is up a bit on CuVee, but Tempt is up a bit on Fly. Tempt is already into level 8, Fly still level 7, even though minions have been consumed a bit in the mid lane. Mystic and Jelly being a little cautious as Spirit. He's going to start the Rift Herald right now. Mordekaiser's going to have the first leg up on the bottom lane arrival, but the lane state, take a look at it on the minimap, that is a whole lot of blue minions.
Yeah, that is a mega large amount of
so
blue minions. And there's no way that, CuVee's not going to be able to shove that underneath the turret in time. Kiin's just going to be able to eat them all as quickly as he likes, or as slowly as he likes, depending on whether or not he likes that freezing mentality that some people talk about. Great sidestep there from Vsta. Sort of a surprise pleasure is this player. Came from the support role as a trainee, and he's making us pretty impressed so far with his performance. And with a name like Vsta, I wasn't ready to be impressed. You know, I'd upgrade to 7, generally.
I said Mordekaiser just flashed.
Oh, okay.
Can you look at me? No, okay. Flashes out.
He had no idea where anyone else was.
I think I'm going to live.
Yeah, got it. No worries. Mystic is Calibrum looking to go home. See how close to the Essence Reaver he is. 1 minion behind, so no worries there on the bottom side. Things very even. See whether Elodios is going to be yet again on the winning side. So far this matchup, he has been, but that's only one game.
And also, this game, we can notice that Kiin did purchase the Hex Drinker. Gives him a lot of value in the mid-game against the Mordekaiser and the Rumble. A little surprised that he didn't just pick up the Warhammer so that he could actually get CDR from somewhere rather than opting immediately into the Phage, but I guess he wants the extra HP, which then compounds with the magic resistances.
Yep.
To give him more effectiveness, so definitely can understand it from that angle. Haunting Guys picked up almost into Tabby as well for Tempt on this Rumble, as CuVee is, he's
just taking it. He just has to.
This really looks like days of old where you would have like a pro player against an amateur player, like in a different tier. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not to take anything away from CuVee, it's just Kiin has really been getting the better end of him now in 2 games, and this is just destruction. A 1.5 level lead, single-handedly created by Kiin himself up there in top lane.
Whoa, that's a big flash. Gets the play there onto Spirit, trying to stand away from the Spiderlings. His fly getting down very low before he's even able to do anything. The equalizer's beautifully spaced, as now Afreeca had to get that teleport cancelled. Thank goodness it was. It was in fact CuVee that did so with the Death's Grasp. As in goes Haru, goes 1 for 1, but Spirit grabs one off the back end, as well as Lehends falls down. Make It Rain gonna deny Mystic any sort of approach. That's a great trade for Afreeca. I have a feeling, actually, that that teleport had it completed, it would have been only bad news for Afreeca.
And this is really scary. I mean, CuVee did a really good job at canceling it. I believe he used the Death Realm.
Yeah, I think you can Death Realm and then Death Grasp. I don't know whether it doesn't necessarily CC you, but maybe it just cancels teleport anyway.
The Death Realm makes you blink to the very edge of the Death Realm.
Ah, yes, okay.
So that's all that ends up happening. So take a look at this. CuVee goes back over rather than joining the fray, probably values removing Aatrox than joining himself. Haru gets locked up, hits a Q onto Jelly. It was a really good equalizer, and then the teleport right at the very end. Canceled by Mordekaiser via the Death Realm, according to the cooldown bar.
Yep.
And Haru, he gets the First Blood, so First Blood plus assists considered. It's gonna be 600 total gold, and then you give over 2 kills, assists considered. It's gonna be 800 gold, so Afreeca is gonna end up making out better, but not by as much as you would think.
Well, in comes Fly. Good night, CuVee. He is most definitely dead. There was no Death Realm there available. As Fly is able to tank up that turret for days. This is what you were talking about before, the fact that Pantheon and Elise can practically ignore turrets. And Shelly's going to be shoved down as well. This is a much better start for Afreeca. The Spirit somehow gets turret placed from that one, as well as Haru. He's going to find him. Resonating Strike, I believe, actually didn't register the damage.
Why did CuVee just build a Oblivion Orb into a Hex Drinker?
Not entirely sure. Why did Haru try to engage onto Kiin right here? As the hook is going to land. Lehends saving his jungler's life, but Spirit is going to put him into the ground as Kiin with the World Ender. Just so much healing. There's nothing Hanwha can do. I think they might need to rethink this one. We're going to a game 3.
I really think that it is lining up for potentially a game 3, especially if this top lane discrepancy continues the way that it is. CuVee just put himself in the ground by building that Oblivion Orb into already present resistance.
He is 50 CS behind.
He's 50 CS behind. Has an Oblivion Orb. There's someone right now that's like, they're healing on Aatrox. And I just, I try to turn a blind ear to that one.
To be honest, building an Execution as calling is better in this instance. Because at least you're going to be able to auto-attack him, right? And it'll give it to you without having to spend all of that money.
Morello is just so expensive against this team composition that serves really no purpose. So here, I mean, Kiin, he gets the reset just like you talked about. And
나이스.
nice.
아, 기인이 안 버려야겠네. 잘하네.
How good Kiin is.
Yeah, Spirit just giving Kiin a few kind words after what would have been a little bit more of a disheartened top laner on the Afreeca side after game 1. 3,000 gold, a little bit over that, is going to be the lead here for Afreeca.
No, likewise.
Oh, I like that. Cute backwards use of the Death's Grasp. But Kiin is an immovable object, and there are no unstoppable forces on the side of Hanwha. So, Nexus Destruction, probably the only unstoppable force that is available here.
Tempt finally rotates up to top lane. This is definitely a rough spot to be in. And this is definitely scary as well. Also, interestingly enough, Fly, he picked up the components for Phage, but never finished the Phage or a Kindle Gem, and then immediately elected into Yumu's, which is really strange considering the opponent got a Mountain Drake, which is going to scale every single level. So the penetration...
Yeah, lethality went down in value.
Pantheon is one of those people that he does stack it so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
The Black Cleaver. He just jumps on you with W, he basically fully stacks it, his E. There's so many ways for him to do it and get the value out of it. So, given that the enemy champions are also itemizing armor, it's definitely not bad. You get more value out of that from Ardana, Yumu's, as Fly is going to die here.
Yep, kicked into the wall, and just wait that one out. We'll get another cube, but doesn't even need it. Flame Spitter, pretty dang good. Second kill here for Hanwha Life, trying to pull this one back. Not over till it's over. Of course, it's going to be a very difficult game as Afreeca now are going to put Shirley into this outer turret. She's in fact tanking it up as well for quite some time. It means that mini wave is going to stay alive for the moment, but they don't push it any further forward. Lehends pokes her eye out. Maybe an opportunity to take down this outer turret top lane as well, as CuVee is getting shoved in by Kiin once again on the bottom side.
CuVee finally hits level 10. He's about to die again, though. Although he does have... Oh, no. Oh, yeah, yes, definitely.
Cocoon is going to land.
Yeah,
Good
okay.
night, sweet prince. Yeah. Fly's going to die again, too, though. Actually blocking a lot of the damage, like it. Because he blocked so much, actually did a relevant amount there as Vsta. He's coming in. They're looking for it. Jelly trying to slow them down. Oh, that was almost such a good play. But actually, it doesn't even matter as the teleport comes through from Kiin. He's looking for Lehends. Lehends flashes out of the way. And Make It Rain may have actually been relevant there to avoid getting in range of the dredge line from Jelly. But that would have had quite a long cooldown given the fact that it missed the structure he was aiming for earlier. Mystic just remaining in the mid lane, clearing things out as Lehends still there, getting smacked down by Kiin. Another Umbral Dash comes in, one more auto, and that is a very good thresh as the Q is going to be enough. Kiin continuing his onslaught. Q lands onto him, slowed down by the harpoons. Haru actually wants it, as in comes Fly. He looks for Tempt, good cleanse. Basically immediately is Haru, that's not a fight that you want. Not entirely sure why you even wanted to take it. As Spirit is going to get around doing the things that he, needs to be doing, taking Drakes, things like that. 2-0-2 now on the Elise. Big grin on the jungler's face.
Game is looking like it really is over. And I feel like what Hanwha Life are trying to do there by going up to top lane is they feel pressured due to the gap in bottom. And I thought that this looked like a visual bug or that I had blinked. I thought Lehends had finished his recall and then got pulled back almost by the damage because it looked really weird at first on my monitor, but that's why I had reacted the way that I did. As Haru, he doesn't have a real way of getting out here. Just tries to take the Q back in, but I suppose he could have tried to make a run for it.
Yeah, he could have just walked the other way, man. I don't know. Sometimes when you're losing the fight, things ain't great. But yeah, that's the more of Malmortius. Good builds and good play so far for Kiin on the Aatrox. He was always one of our better ones, but it's good to see him actually performing.
And CuVee rushing Morello. What, he's going to complete it right now.
Yep, there we go.
Yep.
Locked it in there.
That'll be his epitaph.
He just really needed the mana. What? No, there's no mana on it.
There's no Morello on him.
Yeah.
There used to be.
Yeah, no, I forgot the build. It used to have some of the best. One? It used to have some of the best
it used to be one of the best items, yeah.
Outside of the old Athene's Unholy Grail.
Yes.
Slightly different as far as flat mana regen. Morello used to have it, doesn't anymore. Still, not a great first item to rush because it means his Leandri is going to be extremely late. And the Rylai's is going to be even later. And he was already just didn't have any items. Says good night, Tempt. Alright. Takes the lantern, gets to safety. Only relative safety here is the equalizer did come down. Kiin versus CuVee, a death realm that CuVee doesn't want. But he has friends making their way in. Blast Cone just going to be used before he comes out as CuVee has survived long enough and Vsta should be able to grab. Oh no! Kiin turning it around, gets kicked back. Q is going to be out of the way of the bullet time. Oh my god, I thought it was going to be a super play, but it wasn't. But he did buy enough time for his team to get the Baron, so maybe it is the super play that we were thinking of.
Well, Afreeca, they're going to pick up the Baron, like you just said. All the gold going over to them. They're riding by about 6,000. Another Infernal Dragon coming up here soon, and it's obviously a really good dragon. Let's take a glimpse at how Arthas really killed Illidan. As CuVee brings him into the Death Realm, and then he's like, wait a second, hold on here.
Arthas did it by running away as fast as he could.
He tells Sylvanas, and then one of the blind monks over here is like, can you guys take care of this?
Yeah, Loremaster Cho.
Yeah, Loremaster Cho before he transforms into a panda.
Yeah, that's, I don't know, for some reason that's Lee Sin in my mind.
As eventually Illidan was brought down.
It's much better options than Loremaster Cho. It's just bad, but it's got a similar vibe. I don't know.
Alright, well. Afreeca, they're just waiting for all the lanes to line up. They're going to be able to win this game quite easily from this point forward.
Do you know what I really love about this game?
Go ahead.
Mystic's done basically nothing, which means I don't need to talk about Aphelios at all. Because look, he's got long-rangey gun, and he shot Vsta. Oh hit him with his Q, marked him up. There's the ultimate. Gonna land a few extras, and that's what happens with Calibrum.
Explain to me what just happened out there.
He marked them, and then because they're marked, for some reason you can hit them across the other side of the map. I don't know. I didn't code this champion, but he's busted. All right? It's silly. Why can you do that? You can't even see him. If you set it on your champion, you just died from something raining from nowhere that you can't avoid.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got some feelings. Equalizer comes down to deter Afreeca Freecs. It's going to do so for the moment, but will mean that cooldown won't be there. For the subsequent defense, another reset going to be the answer here. So we're just waiting for Afreeca to dot the I's and cross the T's. Great to see Kiin having a good game.
Yes, a much better performance than his game #1. Now, if you're a Hanwha Life Esports fan, you're probably really worried for game #3 because this is 2 games in a row now where CuVee has been extremely outclassed. It really has not even close. We couldn't even make it to level 4 this game without his lane state just being in a terrible position. So, in this replay here, I wish I could describe to you what just ended up happening. But
you know how a seesaw?
Yeah.
You know how a seesaw is supposed to balance, you know, and it's just, you're supposed to go up and down, and have a great time on the seesaw? If you're on a seesaw with a boulder, all you're sitting on is an uncomfortable chair. And I feel like that's what Aphelios does in the mid-game.
It's a boulder?
No. He's just weighing it down. So imbalanced. No? You're not with me?
But what if there's another boulder on the other side?
Yeah, it's obviously a much smaller boulder.
Oh.
Or a boulder made out of a different material that is not as dense.
What weighs more? 1,000 pounds of steel or 1,000 pounds of feathers?
Dude. Were you expecting to get me on that? Were you? Alright. Obviously the steel, idiot.
I'd laugh if there's actually some world where we're both technically wrong. We might be.
We would absolutely deserve it. We would absolutely deserve it. As Mystic, he's looking for some new prey, as Haru might just be that. HLE gonna find them with the dredge line. Oh, the Moonlight Vigil is huge. In comes Fly to help clean this one up. The bullet time is ignored by the Afreeca Freecs because their wallets are so damn heavy. Their wallets weigh more than both the steel and the feathers, LS. Absolutely.
Yeah.
As the blue buff just stolen as an afterthought, and now it's time for some base breaking.
And it does look like this game is gonna end here. Probably not within the next 30 seconds, but we're definitely going to have one of these turrets get raised, as currently Vsta is busy trying to get the red buff, but okay, failed to kill it twice and canceled his recall.
Well,
doesn't
he
really
got
matter
it now, okay? Yeah. That's the main thing.
As Afreeca, they're actually going to elect to raise the mid tier 3 turret, and they're getting the inhibitor. As Kiin is, yeah, Kiin is
just playing with Rumble a little bit as Haru. Okay. Moves himself over, has the flash, so kick flash opportunities here. But who do you kick flash back in? I guess you choose to try to go to Mystic, and then you die to Fly and Kiin.
Well, this is one of the weaknesses of Lee Sin against this team composition, is there's not real kick targets.
Yeah.
When the game is even or when you're behind. And so, right now it's a 8,000 gold advantage, double Infernal Dragon, so 8% AD and AP amplification to everyone on Afreeca. And honestly, you just feel so good right now at this point. Let's take a look at this replay.
Look at the ult from
right
Mystic.
here. Yeah,
the Infernal ult as well just
the
does
blue
so
buff
much
is
damage.
a pacifist. He's sort of like a grandparent. He's like, that's violent. Turn it off.
Yeah.
As he struts back to his, you know.
Yeah. It's like,
his
no,
rocking
I've
chair.
had enough. I've had enough of this silliness.
Yeah.
Enough of this. And then just gets
You ever have your
obliterated
grandparents tell you to turn something off as a kid?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too violent. That's gross.
Yeah. Stop doing that.
Disgusting. What did she say? Listen to music or something, you know? Like.
Is that what you're listening to these days? Back in my day, Jelly's just in amongst 4 people. Stoneblade, pretty good item here, as the Equalizer used only on Mystic, and I don't blame him, to be perfectly honest, but Tempt is going to have to go golden and then await his own death. Fly is going to give it to him, as now CuVee puts Kiin into the death realm, but that is exactly where Kiin wanted to be, and Mystic now, with his Calibrum armed, is looking for his next victims. I believe he has Crescendum there as well, but honestly, it doesn't matter, because Fly's doing enough damage. Kiin is doing all of the damage. And that's the ace, and that will be the end of the game. Afreeca bringing us to 3, a 6-game day to close out the first week of the LCK. I couldn't have asked for more, as Afreeca finally wake up and show us a dead Nexus before the penultimate game in this series.
And so that is going to be a game that is single-handedly carried by Kiin.
Yeah.
He removed one of the enemy team's players, and
I'm glad that you're talking about this as Kiin being a great player, because we were pretty harsh on CuVee and what he did. But honestly, Kiin gave him basically no options based on one mistake that CuVee made in the laning phase that wasn't even a death. You know, he didn't even die. He just got sent home.
Error.
Yeah.
And lane manipulation error, snowballed into an XP lead, snowballed into advantageous trades, which then equated to a 1.5, almost 2 level lead.
Look at Spirit. Just teasing Mystic after Mystic helped carry him the game. Another release performance. It seems like she either loses or doesn't die all game. And look, it's basically the definition of what she is as a champion. It's either feast or famine. Either you have a great game or you have an awful game. And there's not much in between that. But good to see that they were actually able to get over the line here. And this Afreeca Freecs, they're a fun team to watch when they're in form, but that game 1 is still ringing back in my ears. You know, that is something that could happen again, because we switch back onto the red side for Hanwha Life, and it feels like their counter picks are just way better.
I really think they need to just blind Soraka or blind Karma or something that just neutralizes top lane. Put CuVee on an island, stop putting him in lanes that Kiin can get advantages on his own end, and just accept that it's a bit of an off day.
I think they just need to like bait a set pick or something like that.
They could do that. They could leave open set and see if Kiin picks it, and then immediately respond to Soraka.
Yeah, I mean, Afreeca banned set on blue side in game 1, and I actually think that's exactly why they did it. Because they didn't want to play the Soraka themselves and didn't want to get Soraka in that situation. Unfortunately, in game number 1, Kiin was unable to really do anything in order to win that lane.
And then Ornn
neutralizes so well. I think, you know, Ornn wasn't even banned. Like, they could have played the Ornn, but didn't happen. Maybe that is going to tell CuVee that perhaps it's just time to hop back to the Ornn. And we might see what Kiin can do with it. But that will be after a short break, guys. We'll be back with the deciding and final game of the week and of the day. We'll see you very, very soon. Oh, Cuss song is talking for a really long time this time. Never mind.
Your fault, Alex.
See you after the break. Welcome back, guys. Thank you so much, G-Sun, for the Analyst Desk translation. Here we are, up to the final game of this series. And who is it going to be? I mean, we're back to the side where Hanwha were able to take advantage of good counter picks and a great draft in order to win game one. And then it all came crashing down when that gentleman on your screen finally found himself in this series. And honestly, in the LCK for 2020, it was a slow start for Kiin, but that was utter domination. 38% of your team's damage as a top lane melee champion is insane.
Yes, and that really was the Kiin show last game. He was given an inch, he took it more than just a mile. Okay,
yeah.
He stretched that several kilometers.
Light years.
Yes.
Of stretching, yeah.
CuVee just couldn't really do anything to come back at any point inside of the game, and the itemization that he opted for certainly didn't help either. But let's see what can happen in game number 3. Can they find him a neutralizing champion in a safe matchup here against Kiin? Because I think that's what's going to be necessary for them to have, you know, a really good chance here in game 3.
Well, we'll see where Afreeca are going to start as far as the bans. In game number 1 on the blue side, it was Diana, Yuumi, and Set that they took away. Hanwha Life, it was Akali, Lucian, and the Ashe off the board. This time, the Jarvan is going to be the first change up. No changes for Hanwha, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it wasn't broken on in game number 1. And the Rumble will finally be taken away. Rumble was picked by Tempt in both games, so not going to have that one to fall back on. And I like this, actually identifying what went wrong. Set is going to be banned. I actually thought that it might be left available, as Afreeca have recognized that there is one champion that doesn't get banned that is completely broken, and they are going to pick it up as first pick.
Now Haru gonna get the Elise for himself inside of this game, and with Set having been banned away, it's a little scary. The Xayah comes in as a means to try to dissuade Afreeca from picking down or taking champions that have easy access to the AD carry. And even if Nautilus does end up getting locked in with the Aphelios, obviously Xayah has her ultimate, so they trade ultimates.
Yep,
and
popped that one. Oh my god!
Oh.
I think LS just fell in love, ladies and gentlemen. He did. Flies back on the Pantheon, but that's the Karthus for Spirit.
Hello, Karthus. Now,
by the way, Elise was available.
Get out.
Remember this. That's how important this is, because he could have picked Elise if he wanted to and chose Karthus.
Okay.
Okay?
Well,
there's more significance here.
Karthus is picked up. They're going to want to pair that with physical damage top laners. You want to have as little magic damage coming in from your teammates as possible so that Karthus is able to get the true damage against the enemy team with his Requiem and just start deleting health bars in the late game. And so he is the best magic damage jungler that exists in the game. He has a condition, you do have to play around him, but as long as you go even and stable inside of laning phases, there's no jungler in the game that can keep up with Karthus in terms of clear speed and then just sheer effectiveness scaling into the later stages of the game. One of the true junglers that can actually be intentionally given resources.
And this is another thing, they've identified that, and they've banned away the other true scaling champion in the Ornn, able to give away all of those cool items and stuff like that, and CuVee was able to pick up a win whilst piloting.
They need to ban Soraka. Soraka invalidates Karthus, because as the Requiem's casting, Karthus, his R can be negated by it. Now, they can R5 the Soraka, they don't have to R4 it. If you R5 the Soraka, it's more likely that you can end up in a favorable matchup. And here in mid lane, you want to look for a champion that is both good against Pantheon and good against Karthus, and to some extent. So looking for champions like Lissandra or champions that have abilities that can somehow shield themselves. The Zoe is very risky.
Yeah, Zoe not going to be able to shield herself from any of the abilities from either of these champions. However, if Zoe's played right, we know exactly what she can do. Mystic. Wonder whether it's going to be a support here or whether we're going to see the other solo laner. Might be Pantheon heading top lane, you never know. But Mystic thinking about the support to pair with this Aphelios. It's going to be Nautilus.
There's that Nautilus that does end up getting picked up, but remember, Xayah will have modes against it. Now, Elise Repel, Xayah Ultimate, these are ways to dodge the Karthus R,
Yep.
But obviously, if Nautilus gets the ultimate out of her early, and then Karthus casts Requiem, well, there's no dodging at that point. It also depends where Elise is going to be in her state of the repel. Need a physical damage champion. Are you willing to blind Aurelia, Camille, things of that nature? Well, we were really good up until then.
Yeah, we had a good run.
Now, if it's on hit cannon, if it's on hit,
that would actually be sick.
that would be very good, and that would also be very interesting if CuVee would try to take a tank. Now, Soraka should just come in here on R5. Soraka on R5.
Do it, CuVee. Don't be scared.
Just, CuVee, lock it in.
They would be so squishy, as Quinn is going to be the decision here for CuVee. It's not Soraka, but it seems fun.
It's definitely going to be an interesting matchup up there in top lane. As Quinn is not the type of champion that, again, I associate CuVee with.
I just don't think you'd ever take flying type into electric type on purpose.
I see what you did there. That is definitely a way to weave in the Pokemon analogy.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's against Pikachu.
Yeah,
So you
well,
don't
that is true.
you take your Pidgey into the Pikachu.
Pikachu went
Generally
into
gonna lose.
he went into solitude clearly as he's donning the Shredder look.
Yeah.
Right now.
This has been intense training,
Yeah.
Pikachu.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Squirtles is who he associates with.
Oh my god.
Alice, you need to
fantastic.
just stop joking so much, okay?
All right,
You gotta
sorry.
stop
We
being
need
so
to keep
toxic.
serious. This is the final game of LCK for week 1. See who's going to take it. Whoever wins here will be... Well, if Hanwha Life wins, they're not going to be able to topple Gen G and their record thus far because they'll only be on 2 points after their 2 wins. But Afreeca can even things out against Gen G with a win. And after looking at this draft, depending on what the Cannon's going to do and what Kiin has been able to do on the Cannon as well, looking like it is pretty favorable for the Afreeca Freecs. Just, I'm looking at these champions on Hanwha's side, and
Now-
just like the health bar totals are not high.
They're not very high, and also they don't have an easy time itemizing magic resistance against this team composition. Now, the cannon, interestingly enough, does sort of incentivize Merc Treads if it's not an on-hit cannon. But the one thing is that even though it's not a magic resistance item, Edge of Night is able to be picked up by CuVee, which is really good against Requiem.
Yeah, that's true.
So that is one of the item build passive. We are already very deep into the game here.
Yeah, made it all the way out. Ticking
And-
over towards a minute. It's Fly looking dapper with his skin. And
I feel
we
like
can
this
have-
is the Athens Pantheon. Not quite as bulky and big as Sparta,
Yeah.
you know, but it's something.
Yeah, that's something.
And she's doing some moves over there.
Just wandering around. I feel like both of our mid laners are sitting in that camp at the moment. We got Banshee's Veil opportunities for both Tempt and Haru. Edge of Night, like you were talking about for CuVee. 3 members will be able to defend themselves. Vsta has abilities to dodge the Requiem in his kit, but it all depends how Spirit plays the Karthus, to be perfectly honest. Because if you're going to be playing him optimally in the late game, you're going to be getting in amongst it.
No.
You're going to be trying to get that defile down and creating zones of control using the Wall of Pain, things like that. And these Banshee's Veils and everything like that will break. And then the Karthus dies, and then he kills everyone with his ult.
Spirit has the wrong runes on Karthus.
What are you supposed
He has Precision Tree. So there's basically 2 options. You either go into the Sorcery Tree and get Transcendence with Gathering Storm, or the most common is actually go into Inspiration. You get Cosmic Insight and Magical Boots. Which
save yourself 300 gold and get 5% extra CDR.
And that's very big for allowing Karthus to just simply power into his items. And then also just go into the Sorc Pen boot. It really helps speeding up his power. And also, he's using the Arthas Karthus, which has a favorable indicator for both yourself and the opponent. And personally, I think using the skin is a little bad because it shows the exact outline of the layways.
And you know where it's going to land as the person who
so does
cast
the
it.
person. So
No, but the thing is, like, even if you're using another skin, you know where you clicked on that thing
Yeah.
And therefore, it's not as much of a big deal for you, necessarily.
I'm actually going to take a quick look at Spirit's OPGG to see if he's played Karthus recently, because...
He has. It's in his recently played. Actually, checked that last time Afreeca played. Mystic and Jelly having a decent time here. Made it to level 2, so they're going to be all right. The Lovers duo doing their best to try and outlane them. So far, the poke has been there as Tempt picks up an Ignite somehow, but it times out. That's bad news. Just doesn't actually want to get into range of Fly's stun, as that's exactly what I was talking about.
Well, all right. So we'll see what happens here with this rune choice here. As so far, Karthus doing Karthus things. Already full cleared his jungle. Police not too far behind.
Yeah, actually heading into Karthus' jungle now just to see what's up.
Yep, Karthus already recalled though. Picks up his Blue Smite as well as 2 Control Lords. So that actually slows down his build quite a lot. He just committed a camp and a half to double Control Wards. And usually, when you're playing Karthus, you want the laners to be self-sufficient. And you want to try to greed into that power as much as fast as possible. And Haru...
Oh, wow, spots him. That was a heads-up wall of pain. As hits the first 3, first 4. Now standing on top of Haru, has to flash to get away from the power of the Karthus.
Really good wall of pain into follow-up late wastes, and that's gonna set Haru back massively in terms of tempo. He's even smiting the
lands the Q. Vsta in a whole host of trouble. 1 auto would have been necessary. As Mystic down to about 200. Lehends now in trouble as well, but he's able to just dance away. Mystic had marked him up, but actually couldn't find the follow-up there in order to get the root with the Gravitum. But showing the power of Aphelios very early in this game is a frightening prospect, to say the least. And already, the duo that we know is laning pretty well together is behind by 10 CS, and the Xayah had to go home.
And everything else is going actually pretty well, although bottom lane, Afreeca, with that turret plate, with the CS advantage.
This is going to be a huge disparity of gold when Mystic does eventually go back. Infernum helps him clear out that wave very, very well. Now CuVee up here on the top side, just shoving in. He's actually doing absolutely fine against Kiin, but I don't think it's the same situation as when he was the Ornn, because the Ornn just had to live in the lane, right? You have to actively win the game as quick.
Yeah. And we'll see what ends up happening as this game does continue on. Karthus about to be 6 soon, as are the laners.
Yeah, Kiin wondering whether he's going to hold on to this teleport for a little bit longer, try and get that early team fight. Probably not something that Spirit wants to do. He wants to keep fighting around his jungle, but I guess getting the stacks on his Dark Harvest would certainly be a good thing.
Now, he's taking some of the lane XP, and this is something that you can actually do to accelerate him, because Karthus, his clear speed really does depend on the base levels inside of his points until he gets Runic Echoes. So he's almost level 6. I think he gets it as, he gets it as he kills the Scuttle Crab. And he is an entire level above Haru right now.
Yeah, almost exactly.
And we have yet to actually see, by the way.
Yeah, he's currently hanging around towards the top side, as you can see on the minimap. Coming down to try and steal away a blue buff. Currently Tempt actually having a great time up against Fly, just keeping him under this turret. Fly is getting these minions pretty well. As I say that, misses one. I gotta stop caster cursing. I've been doing it so much today. It's real bad. As Tempt is gonna come steal this one away, but Spirit, he's already there. He knows what's up. Lay wastes get to work. He even throws out a spare one for fun.
Start the dragon, actually. I think it depends on how he's feeling. I think he's waiting for confirmation that Elise is on the left-hand side, and once he has it, I believe he'll start it. They know about Karthus. That ward just ended up dissipating. He's coming down here with blue, though, and with the Pantheon that's in close proximity, plus Wall of Pain, plus the lay wastes.
And he's getting plate gold. Jelly moves out of range so that the majority goes to Mystic and Spirit. He'll get another plate as Spirit and Mystic holding onto the wave. And this is an Afreeca Freecs squad that are playing around their jungler. and allowing him to succeed. 57 to 46, few camps in the lead, ahead of Haru.
Yeah, now he's going to start the Infernal Dragon, and this is really nice to pick up for this team composition. All champions that want to be doing damage. Now, one of the things also going on here, he's going to recall into Runic Echoes, then he's going to be able to full clear his jungle south to north, bottom to top. Now, CuVee recalled into Hexdrinker first item before Kiin has. Kiin has option to just say, hey, you know what, I'm actually not going to go magic damage on Kennen, and I'm going to make that item virtually negligible, although it will protect against Requiem almost entirely.
That's a good point.
Bilgewater Cutlass picked up.
Well, there's the ulti to come down from Mystic. Calibrum damage in there. That's how you get a kill. You just say, send in the Karthus, and he'll pick that one up. The Moonlight Vigil with Calibrum is so dirty, as we saw in the last game.
I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, you're a big fan?
I'm a big fan.
I know.
Laners,
you don't care what it is, as long as it's something that's really toxic to play against, right?
Yes.
Well,
you think the opponents are having fun right now?
Welcome to Eladios.
Yeah.
They're absolutely
yeah, that
not. Eladios and Karthus, I think two champions that you just, if they get to a certain state, you actually just can't do anything.
So, this is a 5-plate at 9-minute bot lane Infernal Drake for the Afreeca team composition. And Lehends looks like he's panicking.
Yeah, we're looking for a hard engage now as Vsta pulls back the feathers, but it's not going to land on a Mystic. Infernum has been brought out as Spirit. Going to come on over. Tempt, lay waste, going to miss, but he's got the heal. Takes a turret shot. It's not what you want, but the stun is just off cooldown, and Kiin isn't coming down. Spirit flashes for it. Now waiting for that wall of pain, but honestly he doesn't need it because Fly has the stun. And Afreeca, they force the gank, but they get it. And Vista's down to 100 as the dust settles bottom lane.
And it just really feels like it's all over in this game. Karthus is so far ahead. He's going to pick up the Rift Herald right now. He also has Ravenous Hunter, not Ultimate Hunter. So it's not like he's going to really take any damage from this. And again, Kiin has the option to just go into Blade of the Ruined King on Kennen and try split pushing on him.
I really hope he does.
I really hope so too. That would be a really nice innovation in response to CuVee building the Hexdrinker as early as he did, trying to get dual benefit as Spirit looks like he's about to take that Karthus up to the top lane, plant down the Herald, and this is really good. When you have Karthus on your team, he has conditions that he wants to be met. Trade with your opponent, get them low, so that the Requiem is adding the extra damage that the opponent isn't really accounting for in the moment. The opponents are always basically playing about 200 or 250 HP down from what they believe that they have.
And also, look at this moment, right? This is just Afreeca moving as a unit to the top lane, projecting exactly what they're going to do, and Hanwha Life have no answer. There is no option. Shelly just removes this turret. I believe, yeah, it was Shelly, not Shirley just yet. We're still early in this game. And that turret's going to be taken down as well. The global gold advantage is over 3,000 at 11 minutes.
How much?
Sorry,
9,000?
3,000? I said 3,000.
Okay.
Yeah, it is 3,000.
Yes,
right?
it is.
Yeah. What did I say?
No, I was making a reference.
Oh, okay. Over 9,000. Got it. Well, CuVee can get Requiemed.
Yeah, they can't.
By the way, Kiin has Ninja Tabi.
Yeah, Kiin has Ninja Tabi.
Still keep hoping.
And the exhaust came out from CuVee, which obviously mitigated a lot of the damage. The Karthus Requiem does go on cooldown. I don't even believe that he got a Dark Harvest stack, so a little bit unfortunate there. I think they really didn't anticipate how much the damage reduction from the exhaust would be, and they just miscalculated that. Total damage dealt. Haru's doing a really good job there.
Kiin just built a book.
190, and you know, he hasn't been able to do anything. He ended up falling behind in the jungle. He tried to make a really intelligent play, waiting in that brush at blue for the Karthus to restart his route. And if you pick Karthus off right there, you're going to stay ahead of him for so long at that point. You're going to steal both of his camps that just respawn. Everyone's going to have map hacks. You know that he's going to Wraiths. You know that he's going to Golems. Very easy to play around him at that point, but Spirit, a little bit of a savant reading it with the Wall of Pain.
Yeah, really clean. And honestly, like, it doesn't cost you that much mana to make that decision. However, if you do make it, then you guarantee that if they're waiting, you're going to be absolutely fine. So those of you playing Karthus in solo queue, good idea, as the bubble is going to land onto the Karthus. He's out of vision, but Lehends picks him off. Now they're diving on in, but Spirit is still alive. Lehends surviving on just a sliver. No Requiem available, as CuVee was trying to get in with the Sky Strike on the outside, but he's not quite able to. Oh my god, reads it as now Mystic with the follow-up damage, gets the snare from his Gravitum. Crescendum now picked up, that's not going to help him. Lowest range of his kit. And now they're able to keep pushing forward and more plates available here for Mystic.
Emperor Palpatine up there.
Yeah, overseeing his minions. And there's the dive forward. Haru looking for Mystic, standing outside the fence. No, just caught on the edge. And the double kill instantly comes in for Vsta. Investing the flash, but getting the payoff there as well.
That's a really big breath of fresh air for Hanwha Life. Vsta able to pick up those 2 kills right there at a really clutch moment. And also, it salvages some of the remaining turret plates in mid lane. You don't want to get 15 plated this game, as Haru, he's able to make this gamble knowing that even if him and Vsta take some damage, Requiem's still on cooldown. And so, never really gets into any danger, but...
Well, that danger time that we were talking about is going to be up pretty soon. And that's when Hanwha are going to have to start playing very carefully. But they have been able to pull things back. Kiin is at a deficit right now. This Mystic is going to steal away the Karthus' red buff. I think that's allowed. He's getting quite impatient. Yeah, he's going to reset. Mystic, that was a little bit silly. You don't have enough damage to do that just yet. Let's try it again. There we go. Get the Crescendum. And you can just throw a million chakrams at stuff, and then everything's okay. Having a look at bottom side, we've got the revolver completed for Kiin. He's not going to
well,
very sad.
We could have hoped.
This Hanwha team comp doesn't actually fight grouped up, though. I mean, I just don't think the slicing maelstrom's really what is going to get you in. There are so many reasons to play on-hit cannon at this moment.
There really is. And so maybe maybe the thought just didn't cross his mind.
Yeah, perhaps.
And that is all that's going on, because it's been a very long time since on-hit cannon has actually come in to the meta. Oblivion Orb actually picked up on Karthus. This is going to serve a purpose against 3 of the primary carries on the side of Hanwha Life, whereas CuVee with that magic resistance, as it stands, the Oblivion Orb not going to be doing massive amounts. It would be really bad, though, if Karthus just randomly completes Morello, because there's basically no healing on the side of Hanwha Life.
Yep. Apart from, I guess, Lehends having a little bit of his passive, and Haru's W, helping him heal up just a little bit, but I see your point entirely.
Look at Zaya's MR, it's 33. Karthus has exact true damage on Vsta right now.
Yep. Which means, if we hover over the Karthus and have a look at the damage number of his ultimate, which is going to be pretty large, that's just how much damage he's going to do.
The Dark Harvest stacks as well.
Yep.
Not sure how many he has right now. We'll be able to know.
I don't think he's got too many.
Yeah, I think he has 3. I think he has 3 or he has 4. Yeah. I know that he ripped one off of Elise at the river fight where he didn't have Requiem, and she managed to barely get away. And then he obviously has it from his kill and his assist. But beyond that, I don't think there's anything else, because he missed out on the Requiem on CuVee in bot lane.
Yep.
So I do believe that he's only at 4 Dark Harvest stacks, which is a little bit lower than he would typically like to be at this point in the game, but not the end of the world, as Shirley now going to be picked up.
Yep, Spirit going to be able to throw that into a lane as well. Might be the outer turret on the bottom, in the mid lane. As Mystic is holding on, I believe, to like 1 ammo in his Calibrum. Infernum is what he wants to get through next, as Tempt hops on over, but can't get the bubble. No terrain to throw it through, so Mystic is able to stay at range. Total gold, so far Mystic in the lead. 6.6k, very, very well. No, it's actually Spirit that's in the lead, just by a little bit.
Credit to Haru, actually, for actually keeping, or, I just said actually twice, but credit to Haru for keeping up with Karthus despite the early game start, and also the acceleration that Karthus ended up being granted. He didn't gank a lot, and it was a byproduct of it's very hard to gank, and so he kept power farming, and thus he's remained relevant here in the mid game. He also has an Oblivion Orb himself, which is going to be really good. You can see there's no magic resistance present.
Yeah, I mean,
Kennen, 34 MR.
This is a big item spike for the Elise. I hope that blasting one turns into a Void Staff, by the way, on Spirit's side, but only time will tell. He has his stopwatch as well. He's battle ready, and speaking of battle ready, Jelly getting taken down to half health, basically in an instant. However, he is going to be all right. Beach Ball goes just short of Kiin. No harm, no foul. Jelly just taking a bit of damage. Doesn't have his stopwatch, but does have Gargoyle's Stoneplate that he didn't have to invest into that moment. And Fly now getting in position for a flank. Could get behind them here as Shirley does make her presence known. Yeah, CuVee is going to engage on the Fly. Bit of damage. Runic Echoes as well, popping up Lehends. Does a bit of damage. That beach ball wasn't going anywhere anytime soon.
Hanwha Life is potential. Oh,
yeah, they're between about 3
decisions very dangerous.
Right now. Yeah. Tempt is going to be able to kill Shirley as Kiin looking for an opportunity to find a way in. Carrier utilized by CuVee, trying to spot them out as this third Drake of the game is going to be denied.
Afreeca don't need to fight here. They're playing around core item spikes. This would actually be one of the closer fights Hanwha Life would actually look to take. This is when their items are probably at their closest points while Afreeca is pooling a lot of gold on their champions. And they haven't recalled yet. So in terms of on-field battle stats, you just look at all of the items. Elise is really close to Karthus. Yeah. When you consider that they're basically pound for pound. Pantheon really close to completing, I believe Edge of Night is going to end up being his first item.
Unless he goes to finish his Black Cleaver as soon as possible.
Yeah, that would be pretty far away. And Kennen just sitting on the Gunblade means that Quinn is actually ahead of Kennen right now in terms of on-field stats. So
also maybe ahead of the Kennen in gold as well. You can see the CS deficit's actually quite high. Going to take this Rift Scuttler as well. And stealing away any sort of jungle camps from a Karthus comp is a great idea. Mystic just trying to get to that Hurricane as soon as possible.
Karthus Recalls actually picks up the Morello, and there's just not really any healing. I mean, you have Zoe's heal active, you have Lehends' heal active, but beyond that, there's not that much reduction. And typically, he's only going to apply it via the Requiem, which means that it comes in typically at the end of the fight when he's already executing them. So there's not a lot of room left for their healing to come online.
There is merit in starting a fight with a Requiem, but not if Hanwha are going to build all the items that are required in order to just stop that. Edge of Night, for example, and Banshee's Veils, things like that.
Going Liandry's here would just be a lot better, especially because you don't need to actively look to fight right now. You're still actually a couple of minutes away until Kennen completes second core item, Pantheon completes the Black Cleaver, Aphelios completes his utility item after purchasing the Essence Reaver and the Hurricane. And if that ends up being the case, you sit on the Oblivion Orb, and you invest the 1,400 gold plus the assumed gold per minute that Karthus can get while farming his jungle camps and even some lane XP, and he can probably show up at the next team fight with a Liandry's or with a Void Staff, while his teammates also complete their other core items.
Right now we're watching Kiin on the bottom side. Haru was there, but Lehends now might be in trouble. Jelly, that's the wrong direction for that hook. As our friend Ejin would say, it was heading towards Narnia. And that is not going to hit anyone. Just FYI. This turret is going to get brute forced. Haru shows himself, and they will be able to take that one down. But now Afreeca knows they can make an aggressive move towards this top side. Lehends pretty tricky with the Grand Entrance. Going to use it to exit towards the Blast Cone. Uses that to create enough distance for safety. Now Afreeca own this top side entirely. Mystic with the Calibrum Crescendum combo is a siege machine right now. Sentry turret as well as all of the long-range bullets. And an Edge of Night is done, but it's done by Fly. So not the Quinn, who we were expecting to potentially pick that one up. She's actually nowhere near it by the looks of things. That BF sword, I don't know where that's going, but it's certainly not going to be...
Think it to an Infinity Edge.
Edge of Night?
If you would... Well, the BF sword on Quinn, and even on Xayah, it's most likely going to be an Infinity Edge, but I feel like there normally would be an argument to go Bloodthirster on Quinn, but because the Morello is already there...
Oh, this cheeky ward is hella cheeky, by the way. Hanwha know exactly what's going on. Jelly trying to tank this one up as Mystic. Shows that he's doing damage to it. Fly hasn't dropped his shield just yet as Lehends going to pop before anything happens. Requiem comes down as well on top of Fly coming in
Look
at the
at
same
that
time.
damage.
The Moonfall's gigantic as Mystic looking for CuVee. Finds the high range at least, but CuVee going to have to run the heck out of there. Fly in trouble. Does he actually have any of that damage mitigation? The answer is no, but they're not going to hit him with any abilities, and Afreeca just pick up a kill on the top laner and the support, and they'll back away. Jelly dies as well, and it looks like Afreeca aren't going to be able to do the Baron.
Well, no, they're going to start it back up again.
Never mind.
You forgot they have Latios.
They have Latios, and they have a lot of damage coming out of Spirit. Fly comes in there as well, utilizing his teleport. He has a full health bar. Tempt has a flash. But Kiin is looking for a Zoe. The Paddle Star is going to be tanked by Fly, and Tempt, in fact, just takes a bit of damage from the Baron.
Way too far away, and it's not like Zoe has her regular flash and that there's a smite that she could pick up to try to go for some sort of a steal using her R or even her flash. And let's take a look at how this all transpires. Jelly missing a lot of his HP, 4,000 left on the Baron. Lehends pulls the trigger and goes for the backline. I don't know what he's thinking to try to do. Requiem comes out. And interestingly enough, if there's a point where Morello could maybe play a part, it would be here, but you can just see no one has any time to heal.
No.
As they're all running for the hills. And you saw that Requiem damage on all of the targets that don't have magic resistance, because Karthus is dealing true damage. And so, even though there's the cannon that is building some... Well, that's a cute balloon. Well, that's actually really cute.
Yeah, they're really cute,
like
right?
Snow globe.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I think that was a very adorable spellcast. Or yeah, I mean,
Actually, I feel like the balloons are very different now on this patch because we see less, I guess.
Yeah.
Because normally you just see the icons for the things, but I haven't actually seen icons. I've just seen balloons everywhere, and it's way better. I love this.
That balloon was a great distraction, by the way. Totally took my mind off what I was trying to say. So,
You were
credit
just,
to
you were
the
just talking
artist.
about Karthus again.
Yeah.
So you can go back.
Okay.
I'm happy to listen
Well,
to it again.
credit to the artists that drew those Zoe balloons on the minions. I think it looks absolutely fantastic.
Yep. Very,
and
very
definitely
cute.
makes me want that skin.
Yeah, and you can actually purchase it for yourself. Utilize your Riot points in the Riot store, and that can be yours.
Thank you.
Not too much money, especially if you take your parents' credit card.
No, don't do that without permission.
No, you can't do that without permission.
no.
But if they're nice parents, they'll let you use it. As the inner turret going to take a bit of damage here.
So,
And Afreeca just in entire control. This Baron allowing them to lay waste to the Rift.
I see what you did there.
To Spirit's Q ability. Haru looking for a flank, but is that the flank that he wants? As the Moonfall comes down, that is the Graviton, so that means CuVee is going to be stunned. And then the Dredge line, the depth charge, everything comes forward, but CuVee survives for a long time. Xayah picks up the kill onto the Karthus, and now the Requiem is going to come in. Jelly's dead, but CuVee able to tank through that one. The lay waste almost taking out Haru. But otherwise, that is an example of Afreeca biting off a little more than they can chew.
There was no reason to do that, especially because Quinn is the tankiest member, as weird as that sounds, on Hanwha Life, outside of course, the Rakan that has the stopwatch and all the magic resistances. So, take a look at it one more time. Mystic lands a really good ultimate on Aphelios, roots CuVee down, Slicing Maelstrom comes in, the exhaust, but then Lehends, just on the horizon, comes in, locks everyone up. The Requiem ends up being cast, but not quite able to get the kill in the end. Not sure if Spirit cast the Wall of Pain, actually, when he was in his...
I think he cast it initially. You get it back off cooldown again as soon as you enter your dead state. It's been a while since I played Karthus.
I actually play him all the... I play him all the time. I think you...
No, you don't.
You don't get
Requiem
No.
It's late, guys. We are cresting 11 p.m. here in Korea.
Do you know that I believe that we've had 4 out of 11 days almost go to midnight?
Yeah, and you know, Brendan had one, I had one, and you had all of them.
Yes, thank you.
So now we're up to the last one, meaning I'm the lucky man. I get 2. Feels good.
I'm the lucky one.
I
get to have you today.
I know. You just get all of them. You get 2 different friends, whereas we have to wait for our second friend to come up. Bryce Jim Paul is soon to arrive. Sometimes these visas are difficult to get. Complications happen.
Yeah,
you know,
they definitely do.
And then LS has to cast for an extraordinarily long amount of time.
I'm looking forward to it next week.
Oh, heck yeah.
As well. And I'm looking forward to actually more matches that Afreeca and Hanwha Life both do play. It is nice to see their drafts and the way that they play around the champions as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gen G is another example. They had a good day yesterday when it came to drafts and builds and things like that. So
Gen G had a phenomenal performance yesterday.
Yeah, really, really good.
It was very, very fun to watch.
Especially after what was a pretty disappointing start, to be perfectly honest. Gen G felt like they didn't come out the gate as strongly as they would have wanted against a KT team that didn't really show us anything in the Casper Cup. Yes, they have a lot of well-known names and things like that, but just doesn't seem like the cohesion is there. But seeing Gen G really strike back was very impressive and heartwarming. Afreeca and Hanwha Life, these are another two teams. I wasn't expecting Hanwha to be another one that would be to work to look out for, but they've certainly proved us wrong.
Fly was actually just randomly casting his Qs in order to charge up his passive. It's not that he was just spamming abilities needlessly.
Yeah.
Pantheon has been reworked.
Fill up those red things, guys. That's how that one works. Do that, good stuff will happen. It's the Dummies Guide. Wall of Pain. Going to land, but as will the bubble. Now Spirit needs to be protected. Tempt actually taking a lot, as I believe Moonfall's still available. And we've got Crescendum Calibrum. I don't know how Mystic does it, but he seems to always have these two guns. Fantastic in these sort of siegey scenarios, especially now that the Runar's Hurricane is completed. Not going to hit the Q just yet, and another bubble is going to land. Tempt showing the power of Zoe at around the 20 to 40 minute mark.
Okay.
Requiem comes in. He's going to get a very early Featherstorm out of Vsta, and now will not have that available for the ensuing fight, as now CuVee thinking about a flank. He gets slowed down, massive burst damage as that one comes in, and Spirit flashes over the wall. Now it's a flanking Karthus scenario as Haru flashes and just misses the cocoon and goes straight to the death chamber. Tempt off to the side, Wall of Pain tags him up, and Afreeca aren't even interested in this dragon. They're just wanting to try and hunt down the members of Hanwha Life that are still standing. The bottom lane are here. Maybe Jelly in trouble as Lehends with the quickness is going to run really quickly, but is he heading to the grave or to success? Dredge line max range. It's all about success here. He may be going to the grave as well, but a double kill for Kiin ensues. The dragon is taken down in about a split second by Mystic and Spirit, and Baron is alive. Afreeca looking for their second.
And this is really well played by Spirit on this Karthus, really just taking matters into his own hands.
Oh yeah.
At
this is like
several
LS
different
solo
points.
queue right now.
This is a really nice Karthus game to watch if you're wondering what type of things this champion can do
and
how
what
to
they
take
should
initiative
be
yourself.
doing is the main thing. Is that we've seen a lot of, especially Korean Karthuses in 2019, just play the champion wrong.
Yes.
And
they try to gank with him too much.
Exactly. And Spirit is just he's just living his best life.
Requieming.
Wait for the one that hits. There we go. Ouch.
Karthus is actually Thanos, you know? Dread it.
And he actually looks a bit like him as well. Look at that.
Yeah,
just avoids it and just dead. Extremely dead.
And Tempt trying to get away there at the very end. The remaining members ended up being dogged down shortly thereafter. And Jelly with the Nautilus hook from downtown.
Yeah, wait for this one.
Yeah.
And threads
I thought
the
that
needle.
was going to hit Rakan.
Yeah, me too.
I've seen some of those Nautilus hitbox videos, and I mean, hell, there was a chance it would hit the golems, honestly, the way.
I think that dragon died in about the same time that Vsta did.
Well,
it was very, very fast. As Spirit, he's winning on the damage dealt, as we're filling out the MVPs already. LS just picked up his pen, looking to see where that one goes. Let's just hold off. Who knows what's going to happen next? As at least Kiin, as far as building your, AP damage cannon, he's got a pretty good build.
CuVee has actually been one of the stable, fallbacks that Hanwha Life has actually had this game. He did really well in the CS department. His itemization was a bit proactive, but in the end ended up working out as Kiin did go down the magic damage cannon route, and he's had a lot of key moments where he ended up surviving and dragging Afreeca into pretty awful scenarios. So definitely a really great turnaround from his game 1 and 2 performance.
Bit of top laner redemption here this game on both sides. Kiin as well, running back the cannon. The last one was not great, but now he's getting in close. In goes the quickness. Grand entrance comes down as well. The trouble bubble. He buffers the slicing maelstrom. Can he actually go golden?
Whoa!
I don't know whether he has one, as there's the Requiem. Down comes Haru to explode in Lehends. Almost dies as well. I would have stayed up in the sky a little bit longer, to be perfectly honest. I don't know whether he was going to be able to get through there. And Haru had his Zhonya's back up off of cooldown. I think maybe he thought that the channel got broken, but it doesn't.
This is the thing about Karthus too, is that there is no mage jungler that is going to out-damage him or offer the same level.
Oh my god, Mystic almost died there. The turret is going to be the one that actually does fall. Moonfall comes down, Lehends in trouble, but no Calibrum to lock him down from range. Now the engage comes forward. CuVee is going to fall down. Spirit goes gold at exactly the right time and survives. No Requiem available. So they're out of range of the lay wastes. Now Mystic with his Infernum, just wanting to go 1v3. Decides against it.
The minions! They're gonna do it!
Yep, taking
They
it down.
raise the bottom inhibitor, and these are really awkward inhibitor times. These are very layered to be extremely obnoxious.
Yeah, it doesn't actually have a stopwatch or anything like that. We couldn't see that at that particular moment. Although I had just looked at his items.
라칸 노플 노고.
Rakan no flash, no ultimate. And he said, please, right before the Requiem ended up going off. I wonder if he thought that it would kill Rakan as well. And like I was saying, you can pick Elise all you want, but if your laners are stable and self-sufficient, there's no AP jungler that will outshine this champion. It requires your laners to be on the same page. It requires them to play a little bit differently. And the trade-off is that you'll wake up in the late game with one of the strongest champs in the game.
Well, that Infernum was cycled through there by Mystic. Of course, when you use your Q ability, you use up a chunk of your ammo bar. As you can see, Mystic's got, 5 chunks. So that's 5 Qs that you can use there. Gravitum was picked up. So now you have like ammo on it as well as a little bit more, and that was 1 chunk being taken up there of the Calibrum. Just weave in a few of these facts here to try and redeem myself from my horrible casting earlier. As Fly throwing a Q forward, gets the repel out from Haru. Maybe a cooldown that could be relevant as CuVee up against Kiin, winning out with that matchup, and then the lifesteal working out for this Quinn.
All they have to do here is not fight. Inaction is action. Hanwha Life Esports is zombies. You're in a room.
There's no Nexus.
The army is on the way.
The Nexus is just dying right now. Yeah.
And so,
this is like Hanwha Life are playing. Oh, there is one Nexus turret. I apologize. But yeah, this is like they're playing a tower defense game at the same time as League of Legends, and Afreeca don't have to play the tower defense game. That's how this works.
Deathcap.
Everything's being picked up here by Afreeca.
Yeah, this is going to be the final push. There is no Thorin that's going to come running out in this Hobbit.
Nope.
As this is definitely going to be the fall. Also, great itemization out of Fly. Pure defensive utility. Requiem coming in early.
Yeah, we're starting up the fight with it. Tempt taken almost down to death as CuVee's an afterthought in the backline. The Moonlight Vigil does fly forward as Lehends tries to get the quickness onto a few members. So far, they're actually doing decently, but Mystic is still alive, flashing with the onslaught onto Tempt, who will come back, but only to his death as the Grand Skyfall comes in. And Fly, you can't block that one, mate. But he still will win the game. Afreeca, they come back from an awful game 1 to win back-to-back games and lock down top spot alongside Gen G here in the LCK after week 1.
And Spirit feeling extremely relieved, it seems, after that game. And I always like seeing this champion hit Summoner's Rift. Not every day.
Really? I think we're all surprised. I think we're all surprised about your feelings towards Karthus. I don't think any of us know how you feel.
In the West, he is so underappreciated, and it's so bizarre. So anytime he shows up here, in the LCK, I always do want to spend a little bit more time to talk about him.
And I think it's more worth talking about it when you've got Spirit who plays it so well, you know, because you get to then witness what Karthus is supposed to do.
Karthus isn't supposed to be ganking. It's supposed to be power farming, controlling the jungle like a puppet master, and then the laners just don't die to ganks. He gives you map hacks because he clears so fast. He acts as a living ward, and then your laners take intentional trades to keep the HP in all the lanes low, and then the Requiem comes in, and the enemy laners can't account for it, and the jungler just says, what do I do?
Yeah. Because the jungler is also trying to get around the jungle, having to deal with Requiems coming down all the time.
And that's his strength, that's his acceleration. He doesn't slow down.
Yeah.
And if you do everything right, you show up with a powerhouse, which is very rare in modern-day jungle. Normally junglers, they get 1 item, 2 items maybe in some games, and then they're shut down. But truly a really nice showing here. Spirit feeling very happy. I love Uv.
Yeah, he's
the
actually
macro
out here.
God himself.
Yeah.
This is the godfather of macro for those
it's
that
actually
did not
really
watch
warm in here,
StarCraft
by
1.
the way, and that is a very big jacket there on I Love Uv.
Yeah.
But
He used to be called the
congratulations.
Gorilla Terran.
Yes. He was also certainly an eclectic player when he was playing StarCraft.
Yes.
But we don't need to go into all that. He's now found himself a pretty decent team
The
here in the form of the Afreeca Freecs.
The face of an Elise that doesn't know
Yeah.
what she was supposed to do.
Well, to be perfectly honest, there wasn't much that he, like,
I mean,
him waiting in that brush for Spirit was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, he did the right early game move.
He did. And
but
Spirit
answered it in the right way.
it with the Wall of Pain, and from there, everything just fell behind.
Yeah.
If I could translate what they're saying to each other, it's like, well, I just don't know. I mean, this giant purple beam appeared above everyone's head.
Yeah.
Every couple of minutes.
And then what was I supposed to do?
What do you want me to do there? You want me to gank the cannon with
Right now,
Quinn?
the conversation is like, you know that Requiem still goes off after you land. You know, after the rappel. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Why did you die with Zhonya's still up? But honestly, at that point, it was all over. And Haru did admirably to stay at least relevant when it came to farm in that game. It's just that sometimes the composition gets to where it needs to, and then you just watch the game fall apart around you. Props to Afreeca for playing it out as it needed to. We are going to be checking out some highlights pretty soon of these guys, but we're going to come over to us first. Another Aphelios game where the Aphelios was pretty good, but honestly wasn't the star of the show.
He definitely got the ball rolling, though.
Yeah, actually,
for
the bottom
Spirit.
lane plays.
The bottom
were
lane
very,
play.
very
Speaking
good.
of
This,
devil,
for example.
here it is. This is what basically started it all. They took a trade, and again, this happens. Hanwha Life was like, I forgot they had Karthus. As Requiem came in, that was the fabled Morello in his hand, by the way. That's where he gets all the dirty tactics.
The fact that you hit with your offhand weapon as well after that mark thing is just so silly.
It was actually insane, by the way. Tempt RNG'd Ghost. Spirit flashes the wall, and I think if he just kept running north, he would have at least got the flash out of Pantheon eventually as well, but because he tried to juke down and pick up the flash that Karthus used, Pantheon just W'd onto him and got the kill anyway. This was a really big turning point as well by Vsta and Haru. They knew that the Requiem was still on cooldown because Karthus had just tried to assassinate CuVee in bottom, but didn't have the damage for it. So they were able to make that play, get some gold back and stability inside of the game. Lehends here just getting caught, trying to engage and interrupt whatever he could. Requiem came out early. There was no healing to be had at that point, as it was all legs on deck as everyone was trying.
Oh yeah.
For Hanwha Life to run away. This was a pretty decisive point in the game as well. CuVee with the Hex
great
Drinker.
exhaust. Great exhaust out of CuVee.
Really good exhaust out of him. Lehends just on the horizon coming out of yonder from Afreeca's point of view. Showing up there, didn't quite get the kill. And this was Spirit taking matters into his own hands. Wall of Pain hitting with the lockup assistance from Kiin. Spirit flashes the wall, actually, I think, chasing down CuVee. In the end, lay waste, Defile, picking up the kill onto Haru.
With true damage.
Yes.
450 damage from 1 Q is absolutely absurd.
Really good cohesion, really good gameplay. And I didn't talk about it in the runes, and I know that we're in the highlight phase here. One of the things that you want to do when the enemy team has Karthus is, if you can go into the sorcery tree, pick up the nullifying orb. It'll make him really sad when he casts Requiem, And
Yeah.
that basically gives you double Hex Drinker.
오케이, 야, 한번 써볼게. 타워 가자, 타워.
Gonna listen
Just get
in.
the tower,
on
just get the
Afreeca.
tower. And CuVee was a little too late there. Just talking about summoner spells. Just end.
야, 잡아, 야.
Get it. I'm going. Nice.
가버려!
And in goes Fly, dancing on the Nexus. And, yep, no surprise here that Karthus did the most damage in the game. 23k in a 36-minute victory. Not gigantic. I mean, I feel like the damage numbers, the amount of biffo that's been played between our teams today so far in the LCK has been lower than normal. That's all right. More cerebral games here.
Yeah.
In these last few, at least.
Yet another very long day.
Yeah, it's actually like some
almost
stark
midnight.
differences though between the two very close matches that we had. We had Ultra Sinners competing against one another in our first match between DragonX and Sandbox. Ultimately, DragonX were able to come out ahead, but they were still committing some atrocities in the draft. Spirit in this match is going to be the player of the game. I have a feeling that this is going to be 100% of the votes because he was 100% of the team in this particular match. Thank you very much for that one. Picks it up, collects himself a Dark Harvest stack, I believe, as well. And just look, 225 damage onto CuVee with a Q, and then have a look at the damage with the Q onto Haru.
Boom, 417.
417.
Boom, 451.
With the sweet spot. That's real rough.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like Hanwha Live didn't in any of the drafts. The game 1 draft was stunning, absolutely amazing. The next one just didn't necessarily work. They were utilizing the
second one was
rumble
good
pretty
on
well.
paper, but remember the Mordekaiser just got
completely
annihilated.
blown away.
Yeah.
And sometimes that happens, right? Doesn't matter what the draft is. Sometimes you just lose because someone puts you in a hole and you can't escape being two
and you can't even
levels
dig a
behind.
door.
Yeah. That was the issue. So 4 versus 5, not exactly going to be a way that you're going to take the win. However, still much better looks for these players. And yes, Spirit did get 12 out of 12. And that's also the rating
I
for
voted 3
Karthus
times
as a champion.
for him.
I voted, I just completed a line
3
of
check marks.
ticks. It was just ticks all the way along from the both of us. But it was just some fantastic play. And it means now we're going to be able to have a talk with Spirit as well. So let's hand it over to Ji-sun for some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Jason with the Universal Translation, and we'll be hearing from Kiin, Spirit from Afreeca Freecs, taking down Hanwha Life Esports. Both of you guys got 12 votes for this POG vote. And Kiin also said top and jungle did everything today. How are you feeling right now? I'm happy that we won, but game number 1, you shouldn't have dropped that game, so I'm really unsatisfied about that fact. So yeah, heading into game number 2, we could see angry Kiin. Your anger was really reflected in your play, right? We actually let them turn the game around. I mean, we were able to turn the game around, but we couldn't manage to pull it off, so I was really mad in game number 2. All in mode. And Spirit, you did mention you really want to take down your former coach Nofe. How you're feeling right now? For me, today, this one loss is bigger than like usual. So, this 2-game win also means a lot to me. So after getting the game number 3, you looked really excited because you carried the game, right? Well, I wasn't happy because I carried the game. I was just happy that we got the win, especially against Nofe. I really never wanted to lose against him. Even though losing game number 1, game number 2, Kiin, you were just dominating everywhere on the Rift. So let's check out the highlight over here. So you were buying so many time all by yourself. What kind of calls went back and forth? I told my teammates I'll be having a fight over here. So there were a lot of opponent players coming to get me, so rest of the players were going for the Baron. And also you had a 4-man turret dive in the early phase, but you managed to survive. But Spirit at that moment just abandoned Kiin. But in the mic check you said Kiin is doing so well, so we should never abandon him again. So did you think that he was gonna die at that moment? Whoa, I mean, there's no top laner surviving 4-man turret dive, but he did. After that, I realized that we should never ever leave him alone. So I apologized to him, and I promised that I will never abandon him. Well, I'm kind of having a lot of situations where I go to multiple players, getting outnumbered, so maybe that's why I just keep surviving those kind of situations. And Spirit, today Afreeca played 3 Pantheon games in a row and also other champs as well. So was that the focal point of today's match? I was just kept telling our teammates, our coaching staff that I want to crush them, smash them. So I told them let's lock in Pantheon, and I think that worked quite okay. Especially Karthus in game number 3 was so impactful. So was that your opinion? We had other champions on our list, but I told them I want to play it. So our coaching staff told me, go with what you want to play, I trust you. And that your choice was right. Then we have also another highlight for Karthus as well. The burst damage from Karthus was amazing. Well, we had vision of CuVee trying some flank. Well, I actually wasted my flash over there, but in the end, I was in a great position. So, and the rest, all of the rest of my teammates were carrying that fight. So, especially the segment we had before going into the spring split. So, Victoria and Kanki picked Kiin Spirit as the dream team members in LCK. And you already started to prove that. I'm really thankful for such a great compliment. Some people also, there were some haters saying, why are you part of the dream team? And I just realized why I was getting so many hates from the fans. But I will try my best to prove myself. And also Pitor said, junglers are the lowest class, but not for Spirit. Spirit is the best jungler. I thought he was picking on me, but if that's a compliment, I would like to say thank you to Vitor. Kiin, your synergy and teamwork with Spirit is keep improving. Is there any point you guys want to work on? Whenever we find some of the blunders, we will try to work on it, but we are the longest standing top jungle duo, so if we just keep up with this good communication, I'm sure that we will make up all of our mistakes. Spirit, what's your goal for the split? We have one more match against Hanwha Life Esports. I'm gonna win that game. We'll be looking forward to that match, and this will be the end of the interview with Kiin, Spirit from Afreeca Freecs, and I'm going to pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ji-Sun, as usual, for your fantastic interview translations. Great to hear from the top and jungle duo from the Afreeca Freecs. Both of them taking out the 12 out of 12, unanimously the best players of their games, but very different game to game, you know, and in the loss, you know, Kiin looked like he wasn't there, came back on his Aatrox and demolished Hanwha Life almost by himself, and that is going to lead us to these standings. +3 for the Afreeca Freecs and Gen G. DRX with their 2-1 victories in both of their matches. They're 2-0, however, only 1 point is between them and Gen G and Afreeca, so they will be remaining in top spot. But Dragon X, another team that stayed theoretically undefeated as far as match score, and will also be up there, Lone Wolves in the 3rd position.
And you're going to really look forward to when Dragon X, Gen G, and Afreeca will collide, as well as what's going to happen when Sandbox and Damwon really get their footing in terms of consistency and of seeing what's going to end up happening there. So that'll be really exciting to see in coming weeks as we're taking a look at our next matchup. So on Wednesday, APK versus Afreeca. That is one of the top, actually the top team.
That's a real tough one.
The league versus...
The next match, though, is really exciting. Griffin versus Sandbox, of course, our two promoted teams that came in the middle of 2018. But now, where do they stand? Because it's always been Griffin. It was Griffin at the start. It was the Griffin at the end of last year. They haven't changed that much, but they haven't picked up a win yet, and it's been a great start so far to Sandbox, despite falling to Dragon X. Speaking of which, a tough day for Dragon X. They have to face both of the teams that we just saw go up against one another in what was a pretty close match. Hanwha and then Afreeca on Thursday and Saturday, respectively. Otherwise, we do have a telecom war between KT and T1. It's a different style of telecom war right here, and KT no longer the team that we know and love. They're definitely more an amalgamation of old Hanwha Life and old Afreeca. However, still going to be some fun games to watch next week, and only a couple of days to wait. We're going to give this gentleman a bit of a rest, his first 5-day week, so congratulations, well done, and we'll see you next week, guys. Good night.